And I think we're live. So, welcome to There Will Be Spoilers, the show in which the name should be a dead giveaway because there will be spoilers throughout this entire 2 or 3 hours. Although possibly this episode should be renamed There Will Be Puns.
Oh, all the dick puns. Every dick pun.
Yes, because this is 2 to 3 hours of having a deep digging, a deep dive,
Deep dive.
a deep dick dive into the world of PKD, or Philip K. Dick, the famous sci-fi writer.
I tried to prepare myself for all the dad puns, but it didn't. Oh, it's already too much. So which dick should we start with?
Well, I think we should start with maybe having a little bit of a chat about Philip K. Dick and his life and his writing, and I guess one of the main themes that we want to discuss this episode, which is how I guess the bulk of his work was about interpretations of reality.
Weird.
So, yeah, a nice light topic.
Yeah, bizarre. Just bizarre stuff to do with time and seeing the future and just weird.
Well, alternate reality seems to be, from the stories I've read, I haven't read all of his stories, but I've read a lot.
I'm totally
and seen a lot of the adaptations. But alternate reality and how we view reality seem to be his dominant themes. But as an individual, he was also into theology quite a bit. Similar to Orwell, he wrote about authoritarian governments a lot, usually in a negative light.
I mean,
have you heard about Valis?
I'm sorry?
Valis.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, in the 70s, he thought he was being contacted by an alien probe, which was telling him that reality is rather different than what it is, and that a lot of his work was actually based on reality or alternative realities, which he somehow
so he was actually nuts.
Nice way of putting it, but
I mean, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Is that better?
Yeah, he did have some mental health issues, let's say.
So I'm picking on the special guy. That's
I'm not sure exactly what the diagnosis would have been, but there was definitely mental health issues.
From what I know about, I was just gonna say, from what I know about that, it was, it's basically his life experiences and with those kinds of things, drugs too, I believe.
Mainly amphetamines. I think he wrote all his novels before 1970 on amphetamines, and the reason why is because he really didn't earn a lot of money throughout his life. After he died, a lot of his books were made into movies, and he never actually saw that money, unfortunately. But the only way he could make a living as a sci-fi writer was to write a huge amount. I think he was writing something like 30 to 60 pages a day at
Jesus.
So yeah, he would just take amphetamines and write and write and write.
Often probably not remembering what he wrote or when he wrote it.
Well, he's married 5 times, and I think he said in an interview once that the only way he could pay for his wife and kids was to write so much, because I think they like to spend a bit of money. I got that particular one.
Oh, so one of them was like, oh, he must have a lot of money. He's a writer.
Yeah, I don't know what the others were like. I know he married an 18-year-old when he was 43.
Ugh.
That was his wife. Yeah. So.
Oh no, that's so wrong.
Good on him, I say.
I mean, I guess, but she's an adult, but still.
Yeah. Yes. It's not like she was, 17 or something.
Yeah, so it's not like he's gonna die fucking 20 years before you or anything like that.
Mm.
Oh, it just got dark, didn't it?
Well, his stories often do. They elevate quickly. So
they peak dick fast.
Yeah, they well, a lot of the short stories climax really quickly, almost right away.
Oh,
They open with a climax.
They're short and fast. That's unfortunate.
Well, they are short,
Yeah. They don't pretend to be something they're not.
They don't deliver much other than what they're promising.
Yeah, the dark ones tend to be longer though. So.
Oh, that was layered, Dick.
I thought that was clever.
It was good.
Yeah.
Demonetized before we even get going.
Yeah. Way to pull the shades back on that little fact there.
But anyway, a lot of his work focuses on subjective reality versus objective reality. So subjective reality is an individual reality, and objective reality is how, I guess, a group of people agree on what reality is. So a lot of his work asks the question, is a person's subjective reality the same or different or as valid as someone's objective reality?
Is your shade of green the same as mine, basically?
So the three of us agree that we're objectively doing this hangout and talking about Philip K. Dick at the moment, right?
Yeah, but are we?
Well, that's the point. I mean, I'm subjectively experiencing it. So if this was just a delusion as opposed to reality, you guys would be telling me that it's reality, but that would just be part of my delusion, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So that's the type of thing that he explored constantly in his work, as we will see when we get to the movies. But I thought maybe we should start talking about a movie which actually isn't based on a Philip K. Dick story, but I'm going to argue that was an influence. Philip K. Dick was an influence on this particular movie. Okay. And it's not one of the movies that we're going to review today, but I think everyone knows it pretty well, which is another reason I want to bring it up. And that's the Matrix.
Yes.
And the reason I want to bring that up is because Neo is experiencing the Matrix from a subjective point of view, but everyone in the Matrix is also experiencing the Matrix from an objective point of view, because they can agree that it's reality, but it's not really reality, is it? It's an artificial simulation of reality.
Mm-hmm.
But if Philip K. Dick had written that, he would have argued what's the difference between that and reality. Because both
he would have. I should bring up a story and a comic book and a film that actually delves even deeper than The Matrix into that, and it actually inspired The Matrix a great deal, and that's Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, yes, yeah.
That actually has a scene within Planet Memories in it, doesn't it?
Yes.
We're going to get to a little bit later with one of the movies that we're reviewing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, definitely Ghost in the Shell was a huge influence on The Matrix.
Yes. And again, in turn, influenced a huge deal. It wouldn't exist without Dick. Absolutely not.
Would any of us exist without Dick, though?
Well, according to Dick, it could just be made in a lab. So.
Oh, true. But you still need Dick for the source material.
If Philip K. Dick had have written The Matrix, though, when Neo came out of The Matrix, we would have been asking the question, is that really real, or is that just a delusion? Or maybe the Matrix is reality and the supposed outside world is delusion?
Well, in the Matrix, there was a character who very explicitly states that he asks the question, is this steak not juicy and delicious?
Yes,
yeah, he
I was gonna-
chooses.
Perceived. He basically consciously chose to make his perceived reality his objective reality in that case.
Yeah, he wanted to go
He-
back
he-
to the Matrix, because from
Yeah.
his point of view, it was a better reality than what was meant to be the real world.
I'd say I disagree with him.
Well, no, I think a lot of people would have, fortunately or unfortunately, chosen to go back, depending on your perception, how you feel about it.
Yeah, I think they could have come to a general consensus. I think the majority would have chosen to go back. Give them the choice, I'd be like, yeah, I think the Matrix. Just never make me have to feel what you're doing to my real body, please.
But the Matrix does have a couple of connections to Philip K. Dick. First of all, in 1977, Philip K. Dick went to a sci-fi conference and gave a speech in which he speculated that reality might be a computer simulation. And does that sound familiar? And also that whenever someone experiences deja vu, that is in fact a glitch in the program where someone's gone back and changed something.
Such a mindfuck.
So, but does that sound really familiar? I mean,
A little bit.
I think that deja vu is mentioned in the Matrix, if I remember correctly, when something is changed.
It is. Near the beginning, yeah, there was a cat that Neo and company run across, and and it basically, he sees the same thing twice in the span of just a few seconds. I guess that's not really what deja vu is.
I think it was a way to make us experience
feeling.
it as a viewer.
But the audience, I as the audience, I accepted that right away and knew what it meant.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Whoa, did you guys see that?" And then somebody explains it to him in that way. That basically the exact paraphrase, Dick, from that interview or speech. The character said exactly that, pretty much.
Yeah, so I guess
that it's a glitch in the system.
I guess it could be a coincidence, and the Wachowskis were just, trying to express the same thing. But who knows? Maybe they saw that interview with PKD, and that was an influence.
I certainly think it was definitely an influence on the story.
Should find out if they're big Dick fans.
And they they are. The Wachowskis were and probably still are big Philip K. Dick fans. So
the hugest Dick fans.
But there's another connection too, which I find a little bit too much of a coincidence just to be a coincidence, which will lead us to our first movie we're going to talk about, and that's the red pill scene. Because the red pill scene isn't original to the Matrix.
Oh, everybody's upset now.
Yeah, it actually appeared 9 years earlier in Total Recall.
Yeah, when in the film, absolutely. About halfway through the film.
Yeah.
You mentioned that while we were watching it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just a little bit too much of a coincidence. So
probably
heavily influenced by that.
Well, yeah, and even Total Recall as a film is a very influential science fiction film. So that in turn influenced, absolutely, Dick influenced the Matrix. So that's not necessarily a bad thing.
Oh no, it's not a criticism at all. But
it's influenced by Dick to the point where I would almost call it. It's not obviously, but I would call it almost like an unwritten or unreleased Dick story.
Yeah, I guess in a way. But I wanted to start talking about The Matrix because I figured that's a movie that everyone will know. Maybe the whole objective reality thing would be a bit clearer.
Yeah, I think that's a good jumping off point to delve into this.
To deep dive into Dick.
I'm waiting for the deep throat.
And maybe anybody listening might be interested enough for them to allow Dick to do a deep dive into them.
You should all welcome Dick into your lives and into your homes. It's just a
So
wonderful
what you're
thing.
saying is after this show, people should go out and pick up some dick. And,
Yeah.
Yeah, buy it, rent it.
Sit down with your
Eat it.
families, enjoy it together. It's fun for the whole family. Maybe very young children, probably. It's a little bit gory. It's a little explicit.
Oh, it's a little bit heady, but like I said last time, my mom and I used to enjoy Dick together.
It's a little heady.
Yeah.
That's okay. That one's my favorite so far. I think it was it
So-
an accident or did you do that on purpose? That was beautiful.
I think it really depends on the maturity of the child, no matter the age, if they choose to partake in Dick or not, if they can handle it.
Parents should be really.
That'll definitely get us demonetized.
Oh yeah, parents should be very selective
Hey, Quagmine,
with their children.
People are gonna quote mine the shit out of
Good.
that. I'm gonna be in big trouble.
Big troubles, many troubles.
so should we start with Total Recall?
I guess so.
I think so.
I think that's probably the best known out of the three movies we're going to discuss, and it's probably a good jumping off point too.
Yeah,
So
I
that-
think so. And it's
One of those.
It really sums up the whole subjective reality and objective reality because it goes back and forth between those constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the most interesting parts of the movie, as opposed to the whole thing on Mars with the revolution and things like that. I've always viewed that as the secondary kind of story.
Oh
kind of an
yeah.
afterthought. It's a subplot. It's an okay subplot, but it
Yeah, it-
pales in comparison to the main plot.
It was needed, but I think the main interesting point is the whole implanted memory thing.
Yeah, trying to figure
Yes.
out what's real and what isn't, and if it's real and if it's not. Is
Yeah, and I think the character of Quaid in the film goes through that in a pretty convincing way, considering he's played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think as good as Schwarzenegger could do, you can definitely tell that he's very confused by what's happening immediately after sitting in that chair at recall.
So I guess we should go through the plot, just in
Yeah,
case
roughly.
you've seen it. In which case, why are you listening to us? Because
we're gonna ruin it. We're gonna ruin it for you.
spoilers. So
Just
And it's a really cool movie too. So if you don't want it ruined, definitely go and give it a watch.
although I'm guessing most people have probably seen it.
Oh, I think so. Yeah, the vast majority of people that would even consider watching this. So
It's about a character called Quaid, who decides that he wants to have some implanted memories of a holiday. So instead of going through all the hassle of actually going on a holiday, maybe missing your plane and getting your luggage lost and all the expense and
any disease or anything,
yeah,
absolutely.
time off work and everything else. Why not just go and sit in a chair for half an hour and have memories of the holiday implanted into your skull, right? So from your subjective point of view, it's as real as if you just went and did it. Maybe even more so. Who knows? Maybe the
a
memories
bit
are
more vivid, yeah, because they're implanted.
yeah, possibly.
Yeah, it is described as every detail, if you choose, you can remember.
So he decides to get this done, and it doesn't really go well because it turns out that he already has an implanted memory. So his entire reality, personality, all his memories, everything that makes him who he is, turns out to be implanted memories. Or is it?
Spent a lot of the movie doing that, or is it?
Yeah.
Oh, it is. Oh, but is it? Oh,
Shit, I thought I had it, but I didn't.
several times. So his very identity as Quaid is basically stricken from the record almost immediately. in not to his knowledge, but he's basically
We aren't even
his
entirely
personality.
sure. We aren't even.
Well, the audience
Yeah.
doesn't know.
But it would be interesting having that revelation, wouldn't it? That everything you know is false.
I think that would drive most people crazy.
Yeah, and once again, I have to go back to the Matrix. It's a similar thing with Neo. You know, realizing that his entire world is make believe.
That would drive most people crazy.
He Neo takes it rather calmly.
Well, that's because he's the one.
Keanu Reeves can. Well, and he's also Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves can't emote for shit.
But that's where he has the choice of the pills, is it not?
Yes.
You can, yeah.
Oh, him waking up is the grossest thing I think I've ever seen. Ugh. Gives me the no feeling. All just ugh.
So should we assume, for the sake of discussion, that what we see in Total Recall is objective reality and not the delusion of Quaid? Just to discuss.
Yeah.
I think we can agree on that. Yeah, that what happens to him after he sits down in the chair at Recall and has his episode, the point where he fights back and goes on the run. I think we can agree for the sake of discussion. Yeah, that objectively that is what is happening. Absolutely, it's probably the best way to go about it.
Although I want to discuss the possibility that it's not objective reality afterwards.
Yes.
So what happens is he basically realizes that something's gone wrong. He's contacted by his former personality, I guess you'd call it.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
His real personality? I don't know how exactly.
His true self, the self that implanted Quaid in the first place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
After he is attacked by people he considered his friends and even his wife.
His wife, yes, who's not really his wife. She's
who was played by Sharon Unknown. Because she wasn't known at the time, was she?
No, not really. No, she hadn't really had her big break yet. This was one of the movies that actually provided that for Sharon Stone. So,
although she didn't have the leg crossing scene, which really propelled her into the spotlight, didn't it?
Yeah, a couple years after.
Yeah. So it turns out his entire reality is fake. He's contacted by his former personality or real personality, and basically he's sent on a mission to Mars, which incidentally is the holiday that he wanted.
Yeah, he
actually,
has.
We should explain the holiday package. I think that's important.
He also we should also explain that he has dreams about Mars.
Yes, before that. We skipped a lot. We're all over the place. It's sort of like the movie. The movie opens in a dream sequence of Mars, of him on Mars with an unknown dark-haired woman. He wakes up in bed with his blonde hair, not dark-haired wife. They proceed to have a good morning fuck before he goes to work and decides he wants to go on a vacation to Mars without going to Mars. And the vacation package that he chooses is the package where he's a spy who gets the girl in the end. And then we get
the dark-haired girl.
Yes, the dark-haired girl from his dreams. He describes it to them. They create it as best they can from his...
Which is
exactly. Which is exactly. And then they try to implant said vacation, and this is where he wakes up and thinks he's actually a spy. And then what do they do? They relock his memory or resuppress it and dump him in a cab.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Johnny Cabs? Are they called?
Johnny Cabs, yeah.
Which are creepy as shit.
I was just about to say, are they creepy or fucking what? Imagine
they're super creepy.
Blind drunk and getting in the back of one of them.
Oh man,
God, that would. Oh no, not drunk, high.
where would
Like-
you like to go today, sir?
No,
Welcome to Johnny Cast.
Oh.
Oh no.
you drop a hit of acid and get in the back of one of those. Oh God. That would be the worst. That would be the worst evening ever.
Okay, so we can objectively agree that Johnny Cab is fucking creepy as fuck.
Yes, yes. He's got no he's got no lower body or anything. It's just a torso. It's unpleasant, deeply unpleasant.
If I was high, I would willingly walk 10 blocks in acid rain to avoid that.
Yeah, no. let's not and say we did.
So anyway, Quaid kills it. The Johnny Cab.
No, actually, he does later.
He wouldn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I would. And then you wouldn't have to pay for the cab either.
Yeah. After blowing up Johnny, he opens the suitcase.
Yes, the suitcase, the infamous
which,
suitcase.
Which is what contains the video or recording of his former, I guess, personality.
Telling him there's a tracking device in his face, which that's fun to watch.
So his former personality has left the case for him for this particular if these particular events occurred.
Yeah, he's an actual spy for realsies.
Yep, and he has to take a tracking device out of his skull, which is a great scene.
Gives us an opportunity to talk about the practical effects, which are awesome.
Yes,
They really are
it's one of
great.
the good things about this movie are the practical effects. Unfortunately, I don't like the sets.
Yeah, they're a little.
Looked a bit cheap.
They wasted all the money on the practical effects. That's why.
That's always been my theory.
Yeah, I would have to agree about the sets. They are noticeably sets during the film.
Yeah.
I didn't really notice that on years ago on VHS for obvious reasons, but watching it now on Blu-ray, it's an okay looking movie, but it's really good that the audience's eyes are drawn towards what's in the center of the screen because the sets are pretty
But
cheap.
the makeup on everybody is so good. It's almost not noticeable when you're paying attention.
Yeah.
I think it's just a little bit disappointing that they didn't have a bit more of a budget for the sets.
Yeah, I think it
was
was.
great. The acting is great. The practical effects are fantastic, but the one thing that really let the movie down are the sets that just look a little bit cheap. The Rock looks a little bit paper mache-ish at times.
Oh, it really is. Yeah,
You
can
know,
tell it. You can certainly
They
tell.
probably
it is
had a
on a
third
technical
grade class make those, and you guys are fucking mean.
Oh no! I
Picking on the
mean,
children.
it is what it is. I mean, I think it was the right decision to focus the budget. If this is in fact what they did, focus the budget on the makeup and the actors, because they do stand out. So personally, I was only pulled out of the film 2 or 3 times by the sets, and it was only for a couple seconds here and there. I noticed it throughout, but I only really cared a few times.
It's only a minor criticism, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he gets to pull that thing out of his face.
Yeah,
that's entertaining.
And he manages to get away from the bad guys.
Oh yeah, the evil spies.
Mars.
As a woman.
Yes, which is one of the iconic scenes, which I'm sure everyone has seen, even if they haven't seen the movie, they would have seen the
it's probably gift or meme to hell.
Yeah.
Arnold Schwarzenegger in a fat suit.
I think everyone had seen it even before the internet.
Probably.
Yeah.
He basically wears a fake, I guess the best way to describe it is a fake head.
A fake woman suit.
Yeah, yeah. The head in particular. And
the head is, the head makes it.
He's going through customs and the head's been programmed with a certain number of responses.
It doesn't know how to react, I guess, to questions spontaneous questions. So something throws him off and it goes haywire. And it's just about the most entertaining thing I have ever seen.
Yeah, and of course the iconic scene is when the head falls apart and comes off.
And there's
Yeah.
Arnold
Has a meltdown. Yeah.
inside this fat woman's body. I can't say he's probably done that ever again.
No.
You think
no.
that's the only time he's been in a fat woman's body?
Yeah. I mean, unless you count when he was pregnant in Junior. Does that count?
What about the affair with his mate?
Was she fat?
I don't know.
I doubt it. I doubt it very much.
Oh no! What if Junior was just the subconscious True Desires, and he's sitting at Recall right now?
Oh Jesus! Junior was the actual Holiday. He wanted to be a real dad. That's a weird fucking movie. We should talk about that another time.
So,
Really?
so the sub. Oh, you can pick it if you want. What are your picks?
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah! I might make you watch it.
So the subplot on Mars is that there's a tyrant who controls the colony there, controls all the oxygen and all the resources.
People are mutating because he's giving them tainted oxygen, which allows them to see the future
And have
somehow.
three tits, which is the other iconic scene from.
Those are some convincing fake titties. We were actually talking about whether or not they strapped 3 fake ones to her chest or if they just molded a third one.
Yeah. Believe it or not, we discussed this for a good hour.
We did. Because
Yeah, the 3 tits.
Because I think personally it would have been easier for them to probably strap hers down and then lay a full prosthetic on top of them rather than try to line up a single one with her natural ones.
She could have been very flat chested, so it might have been.
Yeah,
easy.
well,
Yeah.
exactly. That would have been much easier.
I wonder if someone's actually gone out there and got that body modification.
A third tit? Oh,
You
Got a
never
third
know.
tit just to
I
feel,
can ask
just to feel
Google.
comfortable with themselves.
Well, there's some weird people out there who get weird facial tattoos and.
A facial tattoo is the same thing as a third tit.
Well, it's I guess.
Well, if it says third tit, I guess it could be.
No, but getting tiger stripes or something across your face isn't exactly normal, is it?
Apparently, it's possible to have 3 breasts.
What, naturally, or
Yeah. Apparently, you can grow what's called an accessory breast under your natural other breasts.
Oh,
oh,
well, I guess people have.
Yeah.
Really?
So I don't know if it has like the organs and shit in it, or if it's just like another boob, but it's usually smaller and it looks like it's underneath the real one, so it wouldn't be all like in a row.
Are you looking this up on Pornhub? Is this a category on there, or
I don't think Google counts as Pornhub.
is there something on the internet apart from Pornhub?
There is, yeah, I know, it's shocking. We're actually not streaming on Pornhub right now.
Oh, we're not.
No,
Oh, I should put some pants on then.
no pants. It's the rule. You're gonna break the rules, I'll kick you off. No pants, no stream. Them's the rules.
Okay.
I put Master on outside, no pants. So we don't get an echo. He's outside with no pants.
So anyway, evil man on Mars is basically evil dictator who controls everything and oppresses the poor mutated people. And
He's a dictator, not a dick potato. Just make that clear to everybody.
and the head of the resistance is called what's his name? Is it Quattro or something?
Oh gosh, Quattro,
Yeah.
I think.
And he turns out to be like a mutant fetus attached to
Oh,
somebody.
that's so weird. I was not prepared for that at all. And he's gooey. Why is he gooey?
Because he's
Everything's wet.
slimy.
There was no reason for him to be wet at all. At all.
He started out as a pimple, and he took
Fucking
off from
wet fetus on your chest. And that shirt was not hiding that. There's no fucking way. It'd be all, it would be all moist on the front all the time. I'm sorry.
You were really offended by this moist fetus, man.
I was not prepared for the wet, fucking half protruded fetus thing. And then he's like, "Oh, let me touch your face." No, Marty, don't do it.
So we've basically found your Johnny Cab.
Oh god, no, that's way worse. I get in a Johnny Cab before I let that thing touch my face. At least he's not wet. If you give me a wet Johnny Cab, then I might be conflicted.
A wet Johnny Cab. That sounds dirty.
Well, yeah. Oh no. Why? I don't understand
Johnny
why
Cab
it was
likes,
moist.
Johnny likes to watch, so.
He does. I don't understand why it was moist. I think the moistness was unnecessary. Director, I disapprove of your choice of the moist fetus.
This is Paul Verhoeven we're talking about here.
Oh god, if I say moist too many more times, I'm gonna summon Omegon.
This is the same RoboCop a couple years prior. So.
Yeah, there's no moist fetus in that.
Yeah, that was left on the cutting room floor, apparently.
Yeah.
I fucking hope so.
The scenes with the moist fetus coming off the back of RoboCop.
Oh god.
They thought it would be too confusing. So
nobody needs a moist fetus. Your movie never needs a moist fetus. There's almost never a time where that's called for.
almost never.
Almost never. Except for, of course, in a Serbian film where the moist fetus was very important.
So anyway, the villain of this film,
it's not a moist fetus.
Is not a moist fetus, but he's trying to find the moist fetus.
How do you fucking
quell the rebellion?
That? How do you lose that?
Well, it's a telepathic moist fetus. It can keep itself.
The shirt would be damp all the time.
I feel sorry for anyone who's just joined in about a minute or two ago.
I don't.
No idea what we're talking about.
I don't.
Dick.
We're talking about dick and moist fetus. You're welcome to There Will Be Spoilers, where we in depth discuss moist fetus and dick.
And someone getting a moist Johnny Cab.
That sounds like a sex maneuver.
I know. That's why I said Planet 30.
Yeah. That sounds like a porno, moist Johnny Cab. Oh, God.
We'll just charge you extra for a moist Johnny Cab, apparently.
I mean, I'd hope it would be wet if I'm paying extra. Anyways, they assassinate the moist fetus, so I don't have to look at it anymore.
Yep.
Huh.
So the rebels are trying to free Mars from the evil evil businessman dictator, evil guy.
He discovered a giant machine that would essentially terraform the entire planet, therefore giving everybody oxygen in and outside of the what would we call it, compound.
Yeah. Given this is a Dick story, and he wrote about and obviously disliked authoritarian governments or people in power, Cohagen is symbolic of the evil capitalist, I suppose, in this case. In the film, anyway. Yeah.
He's got everything, all the resources, all the power, and then he doesn't want to share it with anybody.
Yeah, so that's why he wants to prevent the alien device from releasing all the hidden oxygen in Mars.
Which I'm assuming they told people who were working in the mines that discovered this thing that it would destroy everything, I guess.
Yeah, it was a doomsday machine, a suicide machine, essentially.
Didn't he say that's why they wiped out the Martians?
I believe so, yeah.
Something like that. Some bullshit line about why they shouldn't turn it on, of course.
Yeah. Oh, and it was I I think the people. You talked about the people mutating. Weren't the people mutated because of poor radiation shielding?
Something,
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. Or radiation in the oxygen. They were being fed poor oxygen.
Okay, yeah. Filtering or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Something like that. It gave them super future powers. Super future powers.
So Arnie eventually sets off the machine and releases oxygen, and everyone is happy.
Well, I mean, we get not before they all fly out into the non-atmosphere when they turn the machine on at first, and their faces almost explode.
Yeah,
We get to watch Bad Guy's face explodes because he goes out just a little bit.
Happen. That would not actually happen to you on the face on the surface of Mars. But
I don't think that would happen to you anywhere in space. I think you just suffocate, right?
Yeah, for the most part, suffocate and freeze. But the sky on Mars is also blue as well. It's not red.
Hey, actually, isn't it blue after they turn the machine on?
yeah,
It is after, but right now, if we were to go there and look and survive in a suit, we would see that it's blue.
Yeah, but hey, at least they got it sort of right at the end there when the oxygen's there. Well,
that's an important point. We'll come back to when we're discussing whether the whole thing is a delusion of Quaid.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Should we talk about maybe the most important scene in the movie, which is the pill scene, or am I jumping the gun a little bit?
I think we're just about there. So yeah.
Which one? Isn't there two scenes with said pill?
I don't know. I remember one.
I don't think there are two.
Am I on drugs? I think I might be on drugs.
You might have taken you obviously didn't take the red pill. You took a different pill.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, you've suffered the schizoid embolism as so eloquently try to.
That's a little bit insane. That's a little insensitive. I'm offended.
Also known as PKD syndrome, I think. So, yep.
Dickdrome.
Yeah. So the first red pill scene, not the first scene in the movie, but the first scene in any movie, I think, before the Matrix, is when a doctor goes to Quaid's hotel room on Mars and tells him that everything he's experiencing is just a delusion, and he's still in the machine, and he's had a bad reaction to the memory implant.
His wife is there as well, trying to convince him with the doctor.
Blonde wife, not dark-haired slut, we'll call her.
Yeah, Sharon Unknown. So the doctor offers him a red pill, which is symbolic of him accepting that he's in the Matrix. I mean, in the having a delusion, and by taking the symbolic red pill, he frees himself from the delusion. But unlike Neo, he just shoots the doctor in the head.
Well, yeah, because apparently you can't sweat in a delusion.
Yeah, Quaid notices the doctor. There's a bead sweat, nervous sweat, I guess, falls from his hairline. And that, I guess, is enough for Quaid to essentially think, oh, so this is real, and proceeds to blow his head off.
Even though he's been bleeding and sweating all over the place.
Yeah, of course.
Well, he's the main character, though. But I guess that was his.
Yeah, I get his logic, but it's also it's a little flawed.
Yeah, if it was a delusion and he didn't want to accept that it was a delusion, then he could very well imagine the doctor sweating as an excuse not to take the red pill.
He was enjoying himself way too much. Clearly, 3-titted women everywhere, and hookers and
wet
fucking moist fetuses. God. Stuff of nightmares, that thing reaching out to touch his face.
It's like a holiday in Thailand, really.
Oh no. That was awful.
I'm joking. I love Thailand. But anyway.
Some of my best friends are Thailand.
Some of my best friends are Thailandish. They're Thailandians. Oh, Jesus.
So I guess the question is, what's the argument that it is all a delusion?
I mean, it just sort of, it is exactly as they described the holiday. It's exactly what they described.
Yeah, alien device. He's a spy. Blue skies on Mars. And
Gets the girl.
Blue skies on Mars. That's a new one. And of course, that's the final scene, isn't it? Which would suggest that the whole thing is a delusion.
Definitely, it being it. I'm going to take the opposite stance here and say that it being so realistic as a simulation, would Recall take the chance of tarnishing their own name to the point where they could possibly be shut down or investigated?
But how would they get shut down?
Because it began with Recall's momentous.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah, that's a fair point. But if he wakes up fine in their office and it's just all part of the package,
can they convince him of that?
If he wakes up in the machine, I think he would be pretty open to the idea that he didn't just teleport from the cliffs of Mars back into their office completely unscathed.
Events.
Yeah, they couldn't just leave him in there. They'd have to try to bring him out.
Yeah, they'd have to wake him up at the end of his experience.
If someone goes,
but here's the thing, though. Wouldn't that defeat the purpose of Recall by explaining to him that it was all just a simulation? Because it's supposed to be real. He's not supposed to consciously know that it was a simulation.
Well, no, that's not true. He signs up for it as a simulation before he's in the simulation.
If you know it was a simulation, why would the memories be just like the real thing, to quote the doctor?
Yeah, they're close enough.
Yeah, but I mean, if it went wrong, they would try to bring him out, right?
Well, yeah.
You wouldn't leave him in there.
Yes.
So if that was the end of his vacation, that kiss on the fucking sand, I mean, the movie could have, I say the movie, but this could have continued. He could have finished his vacation and had like the rest of it, because what was it, a 2-week long vacation?
He could have, yeah.
So if we assume that this whole clusterfuck took a week, and the last week he spent fucking her on the blue skied beaches of Mars, and then the simulation ended, we don't know.
Well, that's fair. We don't know. That means that any and all interpretations of the ending and the film itself are valid at that point.
Yeah,
that's the whole point, right?
Which sums up Philip perfectly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it could go either way, really.
The whole notion of not knowing what is reality.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm in the camp of it was the simulation, and then as the movie ended, he finished his vacation, and we just didn't get to see that as an audience.
See, I'm in the camp that what we saw actually happened, and the reason why I say that is we saw scenes in the movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't present.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oh yeah, that's true.
That's lots.
How would he know what happened if he wasn't there to experience it? Now you could argue that that's storytelling, which is a very valid argument.
Well, that would be just part of the filmmaking craft at that point. For the audience. It's a wink to the audience.
Yeah.
It's breaking the fourth wall without actually doing that.
But I mean,
or it could be.
Realistically, we've got circumstantial evidence either way, so it's not really.
Yes.
There's no way to really know. Not without talking to Dick, and Dick can't talk to us anymore because Dick is very dead.
Well, no, yeah, he died in 82, I believe.
He died before I was even born. Does that make you feel old?
No.
He died before I was born too.
I know. I wasn't talking to you.
So I guess we should mention very, very briefly, since you guys haven't seen it, the remake.
Oh, with Colin Farrell, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you guys haven't seen it, so I'm not going to go deeply into it, but I will say the best thing about it is the special effects and the sets and all, all that. Clearly, they had a much bigger budget than the original, but everything else is a major disappointment.
When aren't most remakes like that? Like when they're straight up remakes.
I mean, it's hard to call it a remake. I've since changed my stance on remakes a little bit because it's just another adaptation rather of the book.
Oh, that's fair.
Yeah, that's a fair
right.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is like I'm not trying to be too much of an apologist for remakes, even though I love a lot of them. What I'm saying is it was so different as I look at it, even though I haven't seen it, as just a new adaptation of the book, not a remake of the 1990 Arnie film.
Yeah,
that's fair.
That's a fair point. But yeah, it's not set on Mars either. It's set on Earth.
No, not at all.
Oh, that's strange.
And it has all the memory implant thing and the all that's basically the same. Where it differs though is it's set on Earth, and it's after some great disaster. So there's basically only two countries left on Earth. One is the UK, and the other one is Australia, which is known as the colony. So the UK is basically the UK is where all the upper class live, and the colony is where all the working class.
Of course it is.
And this is something that really spoiled the movie for me. They have a means of transport, which is a tunnel connecting the two countries together through the center of the Earth.
Oh.
And it's called the Drop, right?
Okay.
And theoretically, part of it is correct, right? If you could dig a tunnel from one side of the Earth to the other, and you stepped off into that hole, you would fall faster and faster and faster until you reach the center point, after which you would start to slow down, right?
Mm-hmm.
You would also cook and disintegrate into nothing. But besides that,
putting that aside for a second, right?
Yeah.
You go faster and faster and faster till you reach the middle point, and then from that point you would start to slow down until you just popped out on the other side, right? But the fault with that whole thing, like you said, is that the center of the Earth is molten metal.
You'd be very dead.
I'm pretty sure I've heard that the core of the Earth is hotter than the surface of the sun. I'm not sure if that's correct or not. So take that with a grain of salt. But
It's very hot.
Well, either way, it's goddamn hot. So.
Yeah. And not to mention the pressure that would be there as well. So the whole thing is just impractical. And I can suspend belief to a certain degree in movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand that spaceships don't fly in space like they do in Star Wars, nor do you hear sound in space, right? So I can let that go, right? But some things just push the envelope too much.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, wait. Where are these supposed countries located? Are they still in their same?
Yeah.
Would you actually have to go straight through the middle of the planet in order to do this, or would you be able to skim sort of below the surface for?
Well, even if you could do that, even just a couple miles down, the pressure would be so great that no machine that we could make now or foreseeably in near future would be able to do that.
Are they just throwing people down this hole? Like,
no, it's a huge device. I don't want to call it a train because it's vertical instead of horizontal, but basically
like an elevator.
Yeah, people get inside it and it just drops, right? And gravity
does their ass.
Yeah. And then halfway through, when they're in the center of the Earth, and this is how I know they go through the center and not just,
the edge.
Yeah, is halfway through, gravity for a second stops because they're in the center of the Earth. So technically, the mass of the Earth is pulling on them in all directions. So there's no gravity, and at that point, all the seats flip upside down, so they're in the right position when they come out the other side.
But wait, would you still have to go through the center of the Earth for that to happen?
For there to be no gravity.
Well, no, for them to need to flip the seats over.
No, but the gravity thing you would have to go through.
Yeah. So.
Anyway, yeah, the science of that sounds wonky
Yeah.
at best, even for a science fiction movie.
Yeah, exactly, and that really took me out of the movie a lot. So, plus, I don't think it really had the same heart as the first one.
Never does.
Yeah.
It never does.
So,
Yeah,
I'd recommend.
I mean, despite the sorry,
I
go
was going
on.
to say I'd recommend watching it just out of curiosity, but
Well, I might give it a watch because I mean, it might be worth it just for the visuals alone. So.
Oh yeah.
really,
It's an
very-
experience. Something to experience.
Yeah, and there are worse actors out there than Colin Farrell too. So,
Are there?
I would agree with that.
Oh,
So.
Colin Farrell. Fuck.
But yeah, that sounds like a very different adaptation of that story.
And that's not a bad thing either. If you're going to
No,
do an adaptation, doing something which is somewhat different is a good thing. I will spoil one thing though in the movie for you, and that's the iconic scene of the Arnie in the fat woman's suit going through the thing. They kind of do a nod to that,
Oh no.
where he's going through customs and you see a fat woman who looks like the original fat woman. And the audience automatically thinks, that must be
Yeah.
Quaid.
And then it's
But
not.
It's not. No, he's
Yeah.
actually disguised as someone else.
Of
So,
course.
yeah.
Is it just me or does Colin Farrell always look fucking insane?
yeah, I think it's just his eyebrows. And
It's his face.
Yeah.
He always looks fucking crazy. I don't know what it is. It's like you can always see the whites of his eyes.
So yeah,
Anyway.
to sum up Total Recall, the whole implanted memory thing, and is an implanted memory real from the point of view of the person who has the implanted memory? It's real, and as you pointed out earlier in Ghost in the Shell, at least the animated movie. I don't remember much of the live action one because I've only watched it once, and
Yeah, it was okay, but the animated film and the comic book that preceded it are absolutely amazing, and definitely
I agree.
were inspired to a great degree by Dick for sure.
yeah, the character in that, the garbage man, if I remember correctly, who has implanted memories of a family.
Yeah,
A whole family, a wife that
doesn't
whatever
exist.
happened, a wife. Well, yeah, that doesn't exist, but they're going through a divorce, and he has a daughter that he's not allowed to see,
Mhm.
and he's complaining to his coworker about this, but we find out later through a police investigation that all of that is bogus. It's not. He's just a single bachelor who lives in a tiny little rat-infested apartment.
He has a
in the middle of
picture.
the city somewhere.
He has a picture of what he thinks is his family, and it's actually just a picture of himself.
And his dog. Yeah,
Yeah, but
just
from
a
his
picture of him and his dog.
from his subjective,
It's a picture of.
Yeah. So it's almost like they give it's almost like giving them schizophrenia with the delusions the level of just it is real to them so much so you can't reason with it.
It is. Well, try telling an unmedicated schizophrenic person that their delusions aren't real.
Yeah.
You're really not going to get anywhere, because they are in fact real from their point of view. Their reality. It is very, very real.
Yeah.
To them.
Like they're showing, I remember that scene, they're showing him the picture and they're going, this is just a picture of you, and you can see it distort in his in his vision. We get his vision for a minute, where it's his family, and then him and his dog, and then his family, and it's all like they may never recover his real self.
No, and it's just they might not, and it's just an implanted memory in his. It's everybody, well, not everybody, but most people in this time frame have artificial, not totally artificial brains, but implants.
And a lot of artificial body, like implants,
Yes.
like you said. And I guess it gets to a point where you wonder if you're still human, or if any of you is still a real person.
Yeah, it gets quite philosophical in that. Like, am I an artificial being? Do I actually exist? Did I exist before, or are those just memories that have been implanted for whatever reason?
So I think the whole thing of the implanted memories or false memories of a family lead into the next movie perfectly. But just before we go into that, I want to ask a philosophical question about Quaid. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Now imagine if what we saw in the movie actually happened, and Quaid is in fact an artificial memory implanted into. What was the original character's name? Was it
Hauser?
Hauser, yes.
Something Hauser, yeah.
So, from a legal point of view, what should be done?
What could anything be done?
Wouldn't Hauser just be dead?
But surely Hauser has a right to live, doesn't he?
But is he suffering? Is he conscious anymore? Does he exist within that existence anymore? If his
here's the thing. In the context of the film, Hauser chose to have this done.
Yes,
that's an interesting point.
So I think the question would be, isn't Quaid? Doesn't he have a right to live?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I don't doubt that he does, but that's the dilemma. Who choose? So,
could he be implanted into another body?
I would say, based on Hauser willingly giving it up to whatever end for whatever reason, would lend, at moment, in my mind, maybe a little bit more credence to Quaid's situation.
Okay, it also helps that Hauser's an asshole.
From a legal point of view, I don't know if that's an argument, but
no, probably not.
I don't know if it is either. But that's.
Let me put it this way: what if someone kidnapped someone and forced a new memory into them, a new personality, and then that personality lived independently for a period of time?
Is the personality new, or just the memory that original personality?
It's like Quaid. It's an artificial created memory.
Who would press the charges then?
Because if Quaid doesn't technically exist, how could he press charges? Would he even be given the option to do so?
Oh, but on top of that, could family press charges? Because if it's a kidnapped individual, and you have a family that finds their loved one's body occupied by another.
I think that's where legal precedents could definitely happen, especially if it's
exactly. Then there we have that's a dilemma, because depending on how long the artificial person had occupied the body for, they may have loved ones and family too.
So would the artificial personality have the same rights as a natural personality, we'll call it?
Personally, I'd say not. If it was that kind of a situation where the body was stolen and it was implanted without the consent of the person who originally owned the body.
Because that person was essentially, without the consent would mean that person was essentially murdered.
Yeah.
But that's not the fault of the new personality or the...
No, absolutely not. I think that's... I kind of see what you're getting at, but I think that's a different... I'm not sure if this is what you're going for, but I think that's slightly or even very different from, say, a robot that is so intelligent, even artificially, that they may as well be real. I think that's different
We could also.
I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure if that's what you're going for.
I just
But-
think it's an interesting question. That
It is. It's
Yeah.
movie.
it's sort of a moral conundrum because you have two it would really depend how, like, I personally, I think it's a hijacked body. It belongs to the original the original owner, obviously.
Especially if they were kidnapped.
Yeah, without their consent.
Yeah,
If
which is a different thing legally, I would hope, than Hauser willingly giving it up.
yeah,
That legally, those are different things and defined as different crimes, if at all. Hauser's Quaid's existence isn't a crime in and of itself. However, if somebody was kidnapped, if Hauser was kidnapped and had Quaid implanted into him in place of himself, Hauser, without his consent, that would be a crime.
Also,
I
do
would
you
hope.
think at any point there would be conflict between the two identities after, or like if it would deteriorate Quaid as a person over time, if he would lose
So you
control?
mean like cross chatter.
Yeah, if
Dreams or something.
well, the dreams. Yeah, he was having the dreams of
Yeah.
Hauser before.
Yeah, he was. So
Yeah,
in the
so-
context of the movie, absolutely, there would be cross chatter. And it
So-
took the form of subconscious dreams. And
Does that mean that the implanted personality deteriorates over time, just like any memory?
Again, in the context of the movie, I don't think so. I think, to me, it just seems like something that's just inherent.
Mm.
It's just an inherent flaw that they haven't patched out yet, I guess. Probably happens to anybody. That's what I
Yeah, it's interesting though. If you
Yeah, it might take the shape of deja vu in some people,
because
or bad dreams in others, or all of, or both of those things, or any other number of quote unquote negative effects. It could, it would seem that it would just be, it would be silly to assume that there wouldn't be problems.
even our most vivid memories are not what happened. That's what I mean.
Well,
like,
no, they're not. We're biased to ourselves.
So as Quaid as a person, would he continue regardless without losing himself over time and having Hauser take over? Is that even possible?
I don't. Within the context of the film, it doesn't seem like it's possible.
No, I agree because we don't see it for very long. So we only see this personality. Well, actually, no. How long were they supposedly married? Well, that could be implanted. Wait, no. They talk about that. The bad guys. They talk about how long he was with her.
It's been a few years.
Not years, months. I think only 3.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, I think.
Yeah,
you might be
I
right.
think it was weeks to months or something like
Yeah,
that.
I seem to recall around 3 weeks or 3 months, something like that. Not a super long period of time, and he's having those dreams, and they're so overwhelming that it caused him to go and go to Mars via implanted memories.
Well, it caused him to desire it.
Well,
Subconscious.
actually, yeah. Why would they send her with him to make sure that the implanted personality took, if it wasn't possible that it couldn't?
Yeah, so I guess it could fuck up. at that
It
point.
must be able to.
Probably
well, yeah,
probably in what the movie describes as a schizoid embolism.
yes,
Some
yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
It's like almost like a stroke, I guess.
Yeah,
Like
where
virus.
the other personality maybe comes like full front to try to overthrow the imposter.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be thinking about that now for forever.
but yeah, to answer the Bane's original question, though, does that person have a right to live? Well, are they a person? Or
Again,
I think
it really
it-
depends.
I think, to me, it really depends.
Yeah.
Quaid is an innocent bystander, assuming this is actually happening.
Again, but how long can he control
Hauser-
the body for? Wouldn't it just?
No, I just meant from a
Yeah,
legal standpoint.
yes.
To me, I'm not sure if this would actually hold water in a courtroom, but I would hope so. that Hauser gave that up willingly for nefarious reasons that may or may not have been against the law. I'm assuming they are. Somebody who's kidnapped, as an example, is a different story. The innocent bystander might just have to be legally an unfortunate innocent bystander.
Yeah, a casualty, as it were.
It's an interesting question. It'd be a good basis for a sci-fi movie or
Yeah,
a novel.
absolutely. I don't have a definitive answer to that. I think my conscience would get the better of me no matter what I chose.
Mm.
You know,
I think it would depend whether or not it was consensual to begin with. In terms of the law, though.
Even if it wasn't consensual, what would give me the right to say that this living, breathing person who is this person wouldn't have a right to life, right?
Well, are they really alive though? They're occupying. They are in the sense artificial.
This brings it back to like the discussion about the Matrix with the beginnings of like the war that started the whole thing.
To me, that's totally different because that's artificial intelligence, and they are their own entities with thoughts and feelings of
I
their
suppose.
own, right?
Yeah, you're right.
They're not occupying another individual space in order to exist.
Well, what about Blade Runner then? When artificial memories are implanted into replicants, so
that's a good point. That's a film that's actually hard for me to watch because like when I was younger, when I was a teenager, I used to think, holy shit, poor Roy. You know,
I haven't seen it.
You almost start to. Oh, I know I'm not going to spoil too much, but you also, I really felt for Roy, especially near the end.
Yeah, that's a great scene too, especially considering some of it was improvised.
It was improvised. Yeah, beautiful scene. We can talk about that some other time, but
yeah, we should do a special on
maybe both of the films. Maybe the definitive version of Blade Runner and 2049.
We could probably watch two different versions of Blade Runner, I think.
Oh, maybe one with narration and one without.
Oh, just because there's so many different cuts of it, I think it'd be interesting to compare the different cuts. Maybe
I think so. You know, there's a part of me that really enjoys the inner monologue, the film noir narration.
Yeah. I think they all have their good points and their bad points, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's a little off topic.
Yeah, I guess we should go on to the next movie, which is one of my favorite PKD adaptions, and that's Scanner Darkly.
Prepare for a headache like you have never experienced.
You did enjoy it?
Yeah, it was very good, but oh my god, I should have worn my glasses because for real.
Oh, the rotoscope.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but holy shit, does it fuck with you if you can't see already?
It is a little bit. It's a little bit trippy. Yeah, it's very nice though.
I guess we should describe it just in case someone hasn't seen it. Rotoscoping is where you shoot the actors normally, and then you animate based on what you've shot.
Yes.
And it really does look incredible. It's very, very unique looking.
It does, but the nature of that type of filmmaking is that things can kind of seem to ebb and flow.
Oh god, I swear, I thought it was going to turn real at some point. Like I thought the animation kept going away, but it really didn't.
Quentin Tarantino reveal or something. Where
sort of into reality. I was expecting that, especially because of the subject matter of the film. I thought at some point it was going to be like, okay, now we're entering sober periods, which is reality.
Yeah. Especially considering the opening of the film, which I can see why you would have thought that.
Yeah, I thought the drugs were making them see reality like that, but reality is not really like that.
I rewatched this movie yesterday. I've seen it numerous times, so I rewatched it yesterday. And when I was rewatching it, I thought to myself, I don't think this movie would work as well if it was live action.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, because we would miss a lot of the distortion, like the bugs is an example. You
But
could
not
do it
even
with
that, just that the fact that reality itself, what we're seeing, is distorted,
yeah.
is a reflection of what the characters are going through.
Yeah, again, why I was expecting it to pop into reality at some point.
Yeah, I think the film style itself, the rotoscoping animation, it becomes subconscious after a little while, after it wears off, I guess.
Mm.
Where I think you're right. Yeah, it works. It works the best with the rotoscoped animation because it probably couldn't have worked any other way, at least in this form.
Yeah, I think it still would have been a good movie, but I don't think
Yeah,
it's been as impactful.
No, I think, well, again, they would have had to CG some things, and that would have been way more out, like, it would have felt a lot more out of place and not as tangible in their reality.
Yeah, and I think it would have been too based in reality when, in fact, the movie is about reality being distorted. So,
Yeah.
yes, it is indeed.
so I guess we should go into the plot.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's a short time in the future, it says at the start, and there's a new drug out called D or Death, and I think something like 20% of the population are addicted, which has
Yes, yeah.
caused the country to become a bit of a police state. There's cameras everywhere scanning. That's the name of the movie, Scanner Darkly.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's being watched by the police, and there's also a lot of undercover cops, which brings us to the main character, Bob Arcta. And the name Arcta sounds a lot like actor.
Yeah.
I can hear myself echoing in the background somewhere.
In your head?
No, it's very faintly.
Oh, hold on. Let me see if I goofed here.
That's only
Okay,
like,
try it. Try it now.
hello? No.
It's all your fault, wasn't it?
Okay. It's just a little bit distracting, that's all. But anyway.
No, that was my fault. I have the stream on in the background. I unmuted
okay.
it somehow.
Yeah, so the main character is called Bob Arcta, which sounds a lot like actor, which is intentional because he's playing a role as a drug addict, or is he?
Yeah.
Because he's actually an undercover cop.
He's taking the drug, isn't he?
He is an undercover cop. We find out that later, though. Don't we?
Yeah. Well, we see right pretty much from the start that he's an undercover cop known as Officer Fred. Or Detective Fred?
Yeah, Detective Fred, I think.
Yeah, and he wears, when he's in the detective role, he wears what's called a scramble suit, which is kind of hard to describe.
It's like every person on the planet's face, body, and voice all in a suit, and it's constantly flickering between everything. So the voice is distorted.
I think somebody in the film described it as just
a blur,
an image of a blur in front of you, basically.
I guess the most simplistic way of describing it is a disguise. So
yeah,
we'll just leave it at that because it's a little bit more complex than that. But
watch the movie.
yeah. So no one knows Detective Fred's real identity, including his boss, Hank. I think his name is
Hank.
Also,
Yeah.
He's also in a in one of these suits. So he's disguised, and no one except really high up in the police department knows their real identities. So when they're talking to each other as cops, they're essentially anonymous, which is very important for the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So Officer Fred is assigned to the house as Bob Arcta, and he's there to investigate Donna. Is it Donna Haywood or Donna
I think it's Haywood. I think you're right.
Haywood?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Haywood or
who's
Hayward, I'm not sure.
who's played by Winona Ryder. Because apparently
Yeah.
she has connections to drug dealers or something. And there's numerous other characters living in the house, which I guess we'll get into in a minute. But I want to mainly focus on Officer Fred or Detective Fred and Bob Arctor, because that's, I think, the core of the movie and the most interesting part of it.
Also, Robert Downey Jr.'s character is fucking awesome and hilarious, and I want to bottle that because it feels so much like the role was written for him when he was on drugs.
That
Like-
was when he was still pretty much an outcast in Hollywood.
Yeah.
That was before pre-Iron Man. Everyone's forgotten that
He existed
Yeah.
before that.
That was
Okay.
this was in 2006, 2000. This was a few years before Iron Man.
Oh,
Really got
pre
him
Sherlock, Sherlock
pre-
Holmes.
Yes. Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes
Still a
was
couple
the
years
one
before
that,
that,
the one that got him back his foot in the door in Hollywood, which I really enjoyed them. Anyways, his character in this movie is amazing. It's just incredible.
Yeah, he does steal a lot of the movie.
He does. All I could watch is him when he was in any scene he is in. It's just him.
So Detective Fred is called in, and he's told that he should start investigating Bob Arctor, which is his alternate personality.
He knows this, obviously.
Yeah, but his boss Hank doesn't know which person apparently doesn't know which person in the house that Officer Fred is who he is, right?
They know he's a mole from the house, but he doesn't know which of the five characters who regular the should we call it a drug house? Is it a drug haven? It's a drug house.
Yeah.
So we have Woody Harrelson's character, Keanu Reeves' character, Robert Downey Jr.'s character. I don't know the actress that plays her, and
Winona Ryder.
Winona Ryder, right? Thank you. And
Yeah.
yes,
And
Beetlejuice,
don't forget Beck.
and Ben.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, so Officer Fred is told to investigate his alternate personality. So he essentially has to investigate himself. And throughout the movie, he's taking more and more of substance D, which is causing a split between his right hemisphere and left hemisphere of his brain. And it gets to the point that he eventually begins to think that Bob Arctor is actually a different person. And by the end of the movie, he's confused as to whether he's actually Bob Arctor or not. And slow
complete deterioration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I mention something, Bane?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you wanted to keep it till later. The way that substance D is taken and the form it takes, that's also significant to Philip K. Dick's modus operandi, I guess. They are red pills.
Oh yeah.
It seems to be the theme of this.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's important. Just because the filmmakers definitely had love for Dick. They loved Dick. So
Dick made them very happy. They studied a lot of Dick.
They went deep into Dick.
Dick went deep into them.
They opened themselves up to Dick.
And they were not disappointed.
the Dick delivered. Anyway, the pills are red, so
The pills are red. The drugs are red.
so that's kind of neat, but kind of insignificant.
And
so we can.
We kind of
Tying it back to Ghost in the Shell again, One of the first scenes with Officer Fred, he mentions that he's got two little ones, two little kids, right? Two daughters.
Two little girls. Yeah.
But he doesn't actually. We find out at the end he doesn't actually have a family at all.
Wait, does he not?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, I thought that was okay. I thought that actually happened. I thought that the divorce and the kids that actually happened. So
no, that was.
I gotta watch this a few
times.
Film is brilliant, even if you. Yeah, I've. This is only my second time viewing it. I've only seen it once before. Miss Anon and I watched it last week.
I'd have to watch it a couple more times. I can tell that, like, upon first viewing, it's confusing. You're gonna miss some things.
I think it's one of those movies where you'll catch something new every time you watch it.
Yeah. So right at the end, when he's really losing it, he mentions that he's got two little girls again, and Hank says, "No, you don't. You don't have a family. You don't have any children."
Oh.
And he's just confused by the whole thing.
Yeah, he never seems super distressed by anything. He just seems very confused by everything.
And that gets worse and worse as it goes along. So it's a slow descent into confusion and I guess schizophrenia.
Well, particularly the exams with the doctors.
Yeah.
Because that's later on they actually change into different people, and then they're the original again, and we don't know. We as the audience don't really know what the hell's going on.
No,
but there's lots of clues.
That's an ongoing theme.
Yeah.
There's tons and tons of little clues that you don't get really the first time you watch it. And I'm pretty sure I haven't picked up on all of them myself. But when he's in that exam and he's talking about his girlfriend, Donna, who he doesn't have any sex with because she doesn't want him touching it, which in itself is a clue.
Mm-hmm.
It's because, and her excuse, or a reason rather,
just too much coke.
She does too much coke and doesn't want people to, which is a legitimate concern for people that do a lot of coke and aren't exactly comfortable with it. So,
but we'll get back to the real reason in a little bit, which is the first twist at the end. But the female doctor says, well, maybe you should buy her flowers. I believe there's blue flowers available at a certain time of year or something like that. Which is in fact referring to the end of the movie, which is the second twist, which we'll get to in a little bit. I don't know if you noticed as well, there's a scene when Hank is showing Officer Fred how to work the scanner. And you may notice that Hank is significantly shorter than
I did notice that. Yeah.
Which is obviously a clue, but you don't pick up on things like that until you know the twist at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So should we get to the first twist, or should we talk about his descent? Schizophrenia a bit more.
Personally, speaking of schizophrenia, I'd actually like to talk about the opening of the film, where Freck, Charlie Freck, has his meltdown on substance, which is the drug.
All the bugs.
Yeah, the bugs. Yeah, it's relevant to what we're actually about to discuss in terms of the twist. I think so.
He's washing himself, washing the dog, and washing everything. There's bugs everywhere. He calls Robert Downey Jr.'s character. What the hell is his name in the movie?
Downey?
I can't remember.
James, just James.
James? Okay, so he calls James, and he's the freaking bugs everywhere. And James goes, "Okay, get me some so I can look at them."
Yeah, just throw. I mean, he's all nonchalant about it, though, right? He knows it's just a bad trip, but so he's like, just put some in a jar. Shut up. Deal with it. Bring him over here. Calm down.
Bring him in and show me. And he gets halfway. Yeah. He gets halfway to James at a cafe, and has a delusion about getting pulled over by a cop and then getting shot. And comes out of that, looks over, and the jar's empty.
Yeah. So the high is over, but that's one of the side effects of of substance D.
It-
Um,
The-
that is that's more than a bad trip. That's a paranoid. You could say a paranoid schizophrenic delusion.
yeah, your brain actually does start to break down where it can no longer differentiate between reality and delusion. And it becomes a permanent psychosis after too long on this drug.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, yeah, I think that's a pretty good segue, a pretty good way to lead into the first twist of the movie.
Yeah.
The way it can alter your brain to the point where you really don't know what's real.
Yeah, so
The bad trip can take the form of bugs crawling on your skin, or it can take the form of something far more sinister, which is months in this case of who am I?
Yeah. Existential.
basically, Detective Fred just gets worse and worse until he's at the point where he's confused about everything, and someone reveals to him that he's Bob Arctor, and he says, "Am I?" Like,
Yeah.
he's thinking that Bob Arctor is an entirely different person, even though it's clearly him. And I'm sure the fact that he's having to watch himself when he's like recordings of himself, right, when he's playing the role of Detective Fred, hasn't helped that at all. So his boss Hank decides to get him some help and supposedly calls up his girlfriend Donna, but the twist is that Hank is actually Donna, and so this is somewhat confusing to explain. So Officer Fred is playing the role of Bob Arctor, who's investigating Donna Haywood, who's supposedly fairly high up in the drug business. But Donna is actually Officer Fred's boss, who's planted Bob Arctor into the house so he would eventually OD on the substance, which leads to the second twist in the movie. Is that confusing? I'm sure I've confused everyone.
If you've watched the
well,
movie,
it makes
it's
sense
not.
to us. But...
Yeah, if you've watched the movie, it is not. It makes sense. Essentially, there's Arctor, who is he is an undercover cop who's high on this drug and is actually losing his mind, who basically is being sacrificed by the police department to infiltrate the big drug dealer, which we don't know who that is yet, but that the idea is that the only way to infiltrate is to get an actual insane person in there, because the security is so tight. They only let vegetables work in their...
What's the company called again? I can't quite remember, but
New Path, I think is...
New Path.
New Path. That's right. Yeah. That's what it is. It's a rehab.
It's a rehab center.
Rehab center. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a rehab center.
The rehab center is actually the one growing and supplying the drug.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So the only way they could get someone in there is if someone was severely damaged, and so basically they sacrificed poor Officer Fred or Bob Arctor or whatever personality he was at that particular time.
Yeah.
But didn't he have a new name by the end of it? Bruce?
Yeah, but I'm assuming that just...
Yeah, welcome to the fields, Bruce, or whatever, right? Yeah.
I'm Bruce. I am Bruce.
When I first watched this movie, I was wondering if Bob Arctor was actually a drug addict who they'd convinced was a police officer, right? So, it was the flip of what it actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Because I found it hard they would sacrifice one of their own, but Donna actually says that, we had to sacrifice one of our own. So I guess that's not the interpretation. Although there are some things to suggest that might be the case. But yeah,
there are. I should mention too, just before I forget, that there's a pretty significant scene in the movie with Arctur, and I didn't really catch who this woman was supposed to be. I think she was just a prostitute. The blonde woman who he sleeps with,
Oh, right, yeah.
who is we find out, I guess, since we already spoiled the twist, who we find out was probably Donna in her
And his
her
wife.
suit. Yes.
Well, was it Donna or was that just a?
Well, no. Remember when he looks over after fucking this prostitute or whoever she
Yeah, she
was?
transforms into Donna, but then transforms back.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, but we see him later watch footage of that, and
Yeah.
we see it change, just like the suits do. I guess maybe it was
Well,
a malfunction, or
I think
It
or was
morphs into his
that
wife.
just
It morphs
or
into
was that
his...
just a paranoid delusion?
No, it morphs into his wife.
No, Donna. It morphs into
I
Donna.
thought it was his wife.
no, it's Donna.
It's
definitely-
Donna.
Oh, it was Donna. Okay.
No, I think it's paranoid delusion because if she was wearing the suit, he would notice. He would feel the suit. It's not.
Yeah, no, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you can see the suit around them. It's like a hoodie almost.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're right. Like a hooded sweatshirt. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
that's just a paranoid delusion, and the fact that he sees it later on, when it's on videotape, that just proves that.
I
you
guess
can't
the
reality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
doesn't he project just her on like out by itself so that he can really examine it and it changes while he's looking at it?
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So if he wanted to know whether she actually changed or not, he would have to get someone else to look at it and ask them
Exactly.
an objective point of view. But then again, he might imagine that they're saying that she changed when she doesn't. So
Well, yeah, because he hears people saying things that they're not really saying too.
So
Yeah.
I guess if his subconscious delusion wants to believe this thing, it will find any way to just make it so, no matter what anybody
Yeah.
says.
The two hemispheres of his brain, the way they describe it is the left side, I guess, comprehends reality and it breaks down via the drug, and the right side of the brain tries to compensate and fills it in with whatever delusions it can to keep you running, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's professional. What are you eating, Bane?
Oh, sorry, I was eating some fish and chips. Sorry. I didn't know you could hear that. I was just having a little bit of lunch.
Oh, this is a
Sounds delicious.
professional show.
Or did you hear it? Maybe it was an illusion.
Oh, I think Master Nun heard it too.
Yeah, now that you've suggested to him that he
Oh,
heard it,
I'm feeding him. Okay.
you
Wait. Are you sure you're actually eating fish and chips?
there's a glitch in the Matrix, and you've just re-edited history. So you know.
Oh, fuck.
Is that what it is?
Somebody's gonna die now.
Oh, is that how it works?
Yeah, I fucked everything up. Somebody has to die.
Yep.
I'm voting on the fish.
Is there a fish here?
I mean, I hope so. What else are you eating?
A potato cake.
Wait.
I don't know. I don't know what you call them in Canada, but we call
Dick.
them cakes. Hey?
Dick.
Yeah, potato cakes.
Fish and dick.
Potato cakes.
French fries?
Hash browns?
No, it's like
Hash browns?
it's a slice of potato dipped in batter and deep fried.
Oh, we don't do that. We're not that fat.
That sounds delicious.
Why would you batter a potato? It's already starch. You fat motherfucker.
You missed out if you've never had a potato cake. Like I said, I don't know what they call it in other places in the world. I think in New South Wales they call them potato scallops, which is just weird. But anyway,
Yeah, seriously, why would you batter a potato? It's already starch.
that's all crispy and it's nice.
It's delicious.
You've never had crisps. I'm pretty sure potatoes will do that on their own.
You mean chips?
Chips are good too, but anyway.
Chips are fries.
Yes. Fries, chips, whatever you want to call them.
Crisps are what we call chips. Everything's broken. Yes, potato chips.
Anyway, should we
It's like
discuss?
a freaking deep fried. It's like a battered potato chip, basically.
Should we discuss some of the other characters in the house?
I want to know how thick this thing is.
How thick is the potato cake? Well, it really depends where you get it.
How are they like potato chip thick in thickness?
No.
Okay, are they? So they're thicker than a potato chip.
Well, the thickness depends on how much they're browned in the deep fryer.
Well, it depends on who's making it, I guess.
I want to know if it's just a deep fried fucking potato chip with batter.
No. It sounds like. You start with a very large potato, right? Because they're fairly large in size, and you slice it fairly thinly. You dip it in batter, and then you deep fry it.
Oh, it is a deep fried fucking potato chip with batter on it. If you slice it thin,
it's bigger than, wider than a chip,
so it's
but not
slightly thicker than a chip.
No, not thicker than a chip, but wider.
I mean, okay, wait. What do you mean by wider? Because we have some big ass potato chips here.
Well, it's only sliced in one direction. It's not sliced into strips. It's sliced into like a.
We're not talking about French fries. Fucking God.
They're. Let me.
Well, that's just your subjective reality talking.
Crisps. Is it a crisp? Is it like crisps dunked in batter and then deep fried?
They're larger than like potato chips that you get in a packet.
Larger in what way?
I'll send you a picture of a potato cake later, okay?
Oh my God, no, I'm gonna fucking Google this because it's gonna bother me now. What the hell is a potato cake?
What does this have to do with dick?
Well, I did ask how thick it was. See, I looked up potato cake and I'm just getting actual fucking cakes. Oh, crab cakes. Is it like a crab cake? Is the potato mashed first?
Oh.
No,
It's not mashed first. It's just a round of potato. It is a round of potato dunked in batter and then deep fried.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a fucking potato chip dunked in batter and then deep fried.
Not a potato chip, though.
It's close enough. You just put batter on it and call it something else. This is like fried bread all over again. Fried bread is not fried bread. It's toast.
Anyway.
Are you done?
No. Are you done?
You finished with your little tantrum?
Hey, you're the one that made the fucking noise, okay?
Take a couple of these pills and call me in the morning.
Excuse me.
Anyway,
I've posted a link for you to look at.
It's saying you cannot click this. I'm gonna try another browser. I want to see this. You made the fucking noise. You derailed everything.
Anyway, poor Bruce.
Bruce, what the fuck is a potato cake?
Poor Bruce /
Yeah, it's a deep fried fucking chip. Good lord.
Not a chip. It's not the same as a chip.
It is a crisp. I'm so sorry.
But it's a little different.
Yeah, it's a chip dipped in batter and then deep fried.
Yeah, it's a lot thicker than a potato chip.
Slightly. I think that's the batter.
Sounds good.
No. Anyway.
Fucking God, you guys are going after the Americans for the fat prize, aren't you? We gotta deep fry our potatoes in batter.
I think it's an English thing, so I don't think we invented it. I'm pretty sure it's an English thing, so blame them.
Oh God, it's not a fritter. No, it's not a fritter. It's a slice of potato dunked in batter and then deep fried. American Phoenix. Seriously, the Australians are coming after your fat belt.
Well, in the UK, they do it with like chocolates and things like Mars bars and things like that.
Deep fried Mars bars are delicious.
Ah, so you've had one, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, you don't criticize our fatty foods that.
Sure we do. You're deep frying a potato. It's just starch.
So
yeah, that's why it's so tasty.
at least deep frying a Mars bar serves some kind of a purpose.
American Phoenix. This is like a potato fritter.
It isn't, though. It's not a potato fritter, because a potato fritter is mashed potatoes formed and then deep fried. It's not mashed.
That's totally different then.
Yeah, it's a slice of potato covered in batter.
Slice.
Yes, it is a slice of potato. I'm looking at it.
That changes everything.
It's a slice of potato covered in batter and then deep fried.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Philip K. Dick, because this has gotten silly.
Yeah,
Your fault. You derailed everything with your noise. Your noisy
I
ass.
didn't go on about it for 20 minutes.
Hey, it's only been about 5 minutes. Fuck you with your potato fritter.
That's only the third time today.
Flowers.
But anyway.
It's a what? It's the third time.
The third time today someone said that to me. But anyway.
Oh, fuck yourself with a potato fritter.
Bruce, we'll
to?
continue here and say poor Bruce.
Poor
Indirectly.
Bruce. He finds
out
flowers in the cornfield. Take that out of context. Try to figure that shit out.
New Path is actually the ones growing and supplying the drug, and then I'm guessing getting a lot of money from the government to supposedly heal the damaged people who they put to work harvesting the next round of drugs.
Yes.
Which is a nice little racket.
It is. He picks up a flower and it says he'll bring it to Thanksgiving. I guess a Thanksgiving party. A little bit of a
something for my friends. He needs. They need evidence to.
So Donna and company are hoping, or yes, Donna and company as Hank is hoping that hoping to hope that Bruce or Fred will come around.
That he has something in there telling him that he needs to take evidence for them so that they can, I guess, raid or bust this rehab center. I don't imagine that the government is involved.
Well, the command to take the flower must have been implanted pretty deep, because as I said earlier, when he was with the two doctors, the female one said you should maybe get her some blue flowers.
Yeah, and he says to himself, "This will make a good present for my friends."
Yeah, so
on Thanksgiving, yes, yeah.
Subconsciously, that's been implanted in him somehow. Although I don't think we're told exactly how.
It had to have been in some way in the right side of his brain. So probably during his sleep periods, they've had to have done something to make him hold on to that need for a flower.
I'm not sure. But should we talk about the other characters in the house? Because although the main plot is is poor Bob Arthur slowly descending into schizophrenia. The other
is very paranoid discussions with the other characters.
Yeah. Well, they're all slowly losing their minds because they're all taking the drugs.
Yeah, I liked a bit when Freck turned up and they started talking to him in weird kind of.
They started fucking with him on purpose. Yeah.
In the driveway scene, right?
Yeah.
He takes himself into the rehab center.
Yeah.
So they fuck with him on purpose as he leaves in a cab to go to the rehab center.
Yeah, poor Freck.
Yeah. Poor all of them, honestly. Fucking.
Oh yeah, we should mention that Downey Jr.'s character James, he goes to Hank with some information.
Oh yes.
About Fred. He doesn't trust Fred.
Yeah, he's trying to basically get him in trouble, and he even says, "Is it possible that I could get a job here? Are you hiring?"
He's very adamant about it. He doesn't let it go.
Yeah, that's one of the things that made me think that maybe Bob Actor actually was a drug addict, which they then took into the police force. as
Yeah,
opposed
Yeah.
to
it was a sound theory up until the end.
yeah. Yeah,
Well,
but
he
Downey
could.
Jr.'s character was quite interesting. The bit when they're driving on the road and suddenly the car goes out of control and they manage to pull it over, and when they open the hood of the car, they find that a nut has been removed from part of the engine,
Yeah.
which how can I describe it? When the accelerator is pushed down, it doesn't come back up. So they basically, almost.
It basically sticks the gas pedal
Yeah,
down.
yeah.
Yeah.
And Downey Jr.'s character says, you really need someone with the proper tools to fix that. Luckily, I've got them at home, which suggests that maybe he's the one who actually did it.
Maybe?
When he says it, he suddenly seems a bit guilty, like, oh, I shouldn't have said that.
But wait, no, I've got those at home. Darn. Yeah.
Well, then his super secret surveillance cameras that I don't even know if there's cameras actually there.
They get home, the paranoid discussion that ensues is hilarious.
He reveals that he put a note on the door saying, "Go, it's unlocked. Go in."
Yes.
Which he actually did, but also we don't know if he did or not because he's afraid of getting in trouble. So he then goes, "I didn't do that, but I did."
Actually did, but
yes, he certainly did. And so Donna goes in, smokes a joint, and goes to sleep. They come home. There's a warm joint, and oh no, they stash drugs all over the house.
And they're talking
the
house.
Yes.
Yeah. So Woody Harrelson's character Ernie,
he's losing it.
Best. My favorite scene in the entire movie.
Yeah, I would agree.
It's the
that whole breakdown, that just the three of them trying to figure out how they're gonna find non-existent drugs in their house and get them out before the cops show up to raid them.
Yeah, and
after they've been planted there.
Yeah, good old Fred being the voice of reason. Just look at the recordings, James. And it turns out it wasn't recording.
Yeah,
of course.
Oh well, this was Ben, not Fred, by the way. Ben.
Oh yes, yes.
I don't think that any of them really know who Fred is. I don't think Fred actually goes to the house ever. I think he only is in the police department as Fred.
Yeah, no, he's Bob Arctor.
Yeah, outside.
Yeah.
Yes, no, you're right. Yeah, I just refer to him as Fred in my head. It's hard to get out of that.
Bob Fred Bruce. So yeah.
Yeah.
Bruce.
And what about the bike scene?
The bike scene.
Yeah, where Robbie Downey Jr.'s character brings.
Oh God, where he and the gears are disappearing right before before their eyes.
Gear bike. But
Yeah,
hold on, 9.
Yeah, another show stealing scene. Yeah, he really does steal the scene.
It's an 18-speed bike, but wait, no, it's only a 9-speed bike, and now it's only an 8-speed bike. Actually, I think it's him and Woody Harrelson playing off of each other. It's golden. The two of them.
It almost seems like an ad-libbed scene.
It does.
It's great.
That's like they turned they turn the cameras on and go, okay, you guys, be paranoid.
Yeah, just to pull you out of the movie for a minute. Just two veteran, very, very good actors just feeding off each other for 10 minutes. Yeah.
Be drug addicts. And go.
It's very good.
It's an 8-speed bike.
Yeah, so I found Robbie Downey Jr.'s character rather interesting. He's kind of a negative reflection of what Fred really is, because he goes to the police and wants to inform, right? And Fred's actually undercover in the house. And he also planted the camera in the house, which didn't work. When in reality, the police have had scanners in the house which are recording everything that Fred's watching.
Yeah.
Oh,
So-
also, yeah, that's relevant. I'm not sure if it's been mentioned, but what Fred does at the office as a police officer, an investigative police officer or undercover agent, is the profession is called a scanner.
Yeah.
So seems like a small thing, but
Yeah, and basically he has to sift through hours and hours of recording of the house that he's actually in as an alternate character.
and doesn't Hank at one point say, in order for me to not know who you are, you have to be careful about what you edit out? I'm
Yeah,
kind of paraphrasing, but
yeah. So make sure you leave yourself in, a significant amount of time so we don't figure out who you are in the house or something like that.
yeah, because Hank doesn't know. Well, apparently.
Yeah.
I mean,
Where-
we know that Hank,
Yeah,
as Donna does, in fact, know, but
That's
well,
that's
we
the
don't
thing
know that
I
until the
noticed
end. But
that Hank is rather shorter than Officer Fred. But yeah, another thing that made me think that maybe Bob Arctor was recruited by the police and was a drug addict, recruited by the police as opposed to the other way around, was the fact that Hank was teaching him how to use the scanner. Which I
so
thought
are there
was-
two personalities overlapping Fred's then, Bob Arctor and the one before, which is maybe a non-character that we don't know of then? You don't know. And then Fred and then Bob is
Possibly.
Well, who knows with
yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
I wondered where they got Bruce from, right?
where'd the memory
Yeah.
of his family come from too? Did he just create that out of thin air?
And what did Winona Ryder's character?
I guess it might have been his cover story.
What did she call him? When they're talking about him as a police officer that they sacrificed one of their own, what name did she use when she was talking about him?
Oh, I can't remember. I think she might have called him Bob.
In which case, he is Bob Arctor. Really, is his
Well,
would that be his undercover persona? But why would she refer to him as Bob and not his real name then?
Character
I'm-
undercover cops, like they
She's
actually
talking
do
to
that.
another-
Like,
she's talking to another cop though about him after he's already gone and they've the plan's in motion. He's already in.
Yeah. I almost thought of it during the film as a really, really intense version of method acting, almost.
Yeah, well, it would be like that.
But it's added on with Substance D, which is a psychoactive drug, a really brutal one. So, I mean, if you're already into that role, police officer, essentially method acting, would sound silly, but you add on a psychoactive drug to that, and it could distort reality very, very quickly.
And how do we know that the entire movie isn't an implanted memory in Quaid's head? That's
Oh Jesus!
Well,
no, it's just the future Batfleck saw.
yeah, the dick goes deep.
The future that Batfleck saw,
Oh, that's a segue. Wow.
isn't it?
No, they just did it for a paycheck.
so. Yeah, should we go on to the third movie?
I think
probably.
so. I mean,
I gotta say, I'll bring up a criticism of the third movie straight away.
Yes.
The first
that
two
is
are
not very good.
I'll get to that. The first two movies are two movies I can watch over and over again, and every time I watch them, I get more and more out of them. There's more details I pick up, and I go deeper into them, especially Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, well, yeah,
yes.
definitely.
What I find with Paycheck, though, is it's an interesting movie the first time you watch it, right? Because you're trying to figure out what's going on, and it's an interesting premise.
It's good once.
But once you know what that premise is, there's really no need to watch it again, or it loses
It has no rewatchability, almost none.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And as a film, like just as a constructed piece of film, it's really not very good.
Also,
It's
it has
one of John
Uma
Woo's
Thurman in it.
lesser
Ew.
movies.
Ew.
That and Ben Affleck. Ben
Ben
Affleck is,
Affleck's better than Uma Thurman.
in my opinion, Ben Affleck is absolutely terrible in Paycheck. He's awful.
He's too Ben. Like from
Yeah.
It's easy to tell who directed it though, because it has a motorbike chase and a slow motion dove.
Well, that's John Woo in a Chinese nutshell. So
Yeah, every single fucking movie has a motorbike chase and a slow motion dove somewhere in it.
yeah,
I'm sure.
every fucking one, and it's a little bit old, John. Come on.
Yeah, I'm sure if he was hired to do a remake of Robin Hood, there would be a motorbike scene in it. But John,
Well,
they didn't have motorbikes back then. All right,
Okay.
all right.
I'll write it in.
I'll agree to do it with only 3 motorbike chase scenes.
and to his credit, I will say that he is a talented filmmaker most of the time, but Paycheck is, from a critical standpoint, not good.
I think this is the nastiest we've ever been to a movie.
Maybe.
It's
interesting. It's a fun movie, though. And the story it's based on is one of my favorite Dick stories for sure. It's also called Paycheck, the original.
It's genuinely only good the first time. Like once you know what a twist. Once you know how it ends, watching it over again. It's because this is the second time I had to sit through it, and it's it's just really silly.
So, all right, tell us what the premise is then.
Oh, okay. Basically, he steals technology for a living, at least.
Reverse engineering.
Reverse engineering, where he
from rival companies.
For rival companies, and he essentially sells them this product that he rips off from rival companies and improves on, it seems like, often, and then they wipe his memory. It is like the ultimate non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, because he's a freelancer, so they don't want him then selling that technology onto a third party.
Yeah,
that's right, and it's something that he doesn't have to confirm or deny. There is nothing to deny.
Yeah, so he genuinely doesn't know anything. They physically.
It is in effect the perfect crime. Even if they see him there on surveillance cameras, or there's some kind of proof that he physically was there, he literally does not remember. So they can't convict him or the company he's working for.
And the way that they go in and they essentially laser and destroy targeted memories for. I think the most they said that they'd ever done that way was 3 months.
Yes, which is interesting because with recent science, we've actually I don't know this like in depth, but we've recently discovered that parts of our brains and our memories are in fact physical constructs.
Which isn't surprising because we figured out how to implant talents into people.
Yeah, it's our brains are essentially hard drives to the point where something like what's happening in Paycheck is theoretically possible. Yes. Maybe not for a long, long time, but it could be maybe possible. Maybe not on this level, but...
I'll just point out that this is essentially the opposite of what we saw in Total Recall.
Yeah. Instead of implanting memories, they're removing them.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think is interesting.
Instead of making him a secret agent, they're removing that entire situation from his brain.
Yeah, it really is the ultimate non-disclosure agreement. You can't disclose. You don't remember.
Oh, and they pay him
a lot of money, yes.
Like a lot of money, millions of dollars.
I should also point out that he wouldn't grow as an engineer because of this. Because, every time you look at something, every time you work on a project, you learn new things, right? Mm-hmm. So there might be something that takes you a month to figure out, but next time you come across that problem, you might be able to do it in a day because you've already solved that problem, right? But if you had that memory removed, you'd have to start from scratch again.
So every time he has to start over.
I would think in the context of the movie and the story that he was already very brilliant to begin with. That's why they chose him.
Oh yeah, I
That's
agree.
probably why he makes so much money. But he's not working on the same things every time, not even remotely close to the same.
He's not. But that would make me assume that he's just an insanely talented, brilliant individual.
Yeah.
You still have to keep up with the latest technology, and you still have to overcome.
I suppose.
So if he was schooled 10 years, I mean, I can see that if he was schooled, say 10 years prior, and
we could assume that he does that in his downtime too, like when he's not because he still has memories from even in between jobs.
I guess
right?
he could gain new memories about new technology in between his jobs too.
Although he did say at one point that it's good only having the memories of the sports car in Italy or something like that. So I got the impression during his downtime he parties a lot and spends.
He goes on trips.
I don't know if he's spending a lot of time reading technical manuals or anything.
He's also very young.
Well, he is. Yeah, he's in his 30s at most, and like clearly he makes at least $1 million per job.
He probably wouldn't have to continue to do it for very long. Technology wouldn't outgrow him fast enough before he's made so much money he doesn't have to ever work again.
Yeah, and I would assume he's mid-30s, so he's still relatively young anyway.
The premise of the movie is one final job for.
Yeah, the opportunity comes.
We find out the paycheck at the end is going to be $97 million or
something like that.
Almost 100 million, just shy. Yep.
There's a catch though.
It's a year.
No, 3 years.
Oh, 3 years. I thought it was only a year.
3 years.
Shit. Yeah, 3 years. Okay.
Yeah, it was 3 years, and the most they can do successfully is 3 months. So it's
a different technique than what they were doing before, which is where they were like lasering away the physical memories. This is a chemical implant where they inject you with this thing. It goes into your brain, and then when the 3 years are up, they inject you with this other chemical that I guess deletes your memories right up until that.
It's like a reverse file recovery, basically.
Yeah, essentially. So everything from the time he got that first injection to the time he got the second injection is completely removed. However, this leaves like fragments behind. Out of they can recover things because it's a chemical reaction and not physical removal of the memories themselves, which is sort of the whole premise of the movie.
Yeah. So the new way of doing things seems to be far more flawed than the old way, maybe.
In a way, if everything worked out fine, the fragmented memories probably wouldn't have meant anything to him ever.
Yeah, just
if they would have just been
dreams or strange daydreams he can just shake off.
Yeah, exactly. It only made sense to him as the movie progressed too. At the beginning, he was just like, "What the fuck am I even seeing or thinking about?"
Yeah, so, I like the idea of someone messing around with my brain, though. So,
So he finishes this big job, and of course the audience have no idea what he's been doing for the last 3 years. We just know that Uma Thurman is there, and we all want to die because we've been watching her for. Oh. There's too much her.
You don't like Uma?
Oh God. Something about her face.
I'll get you to watch Kill Bill again.
I'll
one day.
watch.
Maybe Gattaca or something.
I'll suffer.
Have you seen Gattaca?
Through it.
Just to get off.
Yeah. I saw that in the theater when it came out.
Gattaca is amazing. I could talk about that movie for a while too.
She was in Dangerously
Anyway.
too, wasn't she? I think it was one of her first movies.
Yes.
It's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
Yeah, we'll have to subject
Oh God, are you gonna make me do like an Uma Thurman themed evening?
Yeah, we'll have,
Yeah, Kill Bill 1
Oh,
and 2
no.
and Gattaca and Pulp Fiction to
Oh,
top it
fuck.
off.
oh yeah,
because
Okay, Pulp Fiction
Fucking
makes me want to
amazing in
kill
Pulp Fiction.
myself.
Oh man, she was one of the
feel,
highlights of that amazing movie.
I know. I feel like such an outcast because I hated Pulp Fiction so fucking much.
really?
God, yes,
Oh,
it's
man.
fucking like I thought for sure when I said I hated Halloween and that I find it very boring that I was going to be the outcast here, but Bane, you're all on my side there, but not Pulp
About
Fiction.
that, but yeah.
Yeah, Pulp Fiction. I'm the
Well, you don't really like Tarantino as a general rule, don't you?
Well,
Yeah.
oh God, I really liked Django
See,
Unchained.
I'm of the opinion that he really is, in fact, one of the best filmmakers to ever live, and will only
Yeah, I
more so.
tend to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I he's
He has
yeah,
such an understanding of movies. It's almost absurd how much he
I like
gets movies.
as an example.
Always too. It's easy to tell it's a Tarantino movie when you're looking at it.
It is
The one with George Clooney. Which
he's,
one is that?
What do you call it? He's an auteur. He's
The
not,
one with
you know,
the
like,
one
he
with
just-
George. Which one's the one with George Clooney? The vampires. I can't
That is-
remember what it's called off the top.
That is From Dusk Till Dawn, and
From-
that is
yes.
a Robert Rodriguez film.
Oh, okay. Well, it's
Tarantino didn't direct that. He
He's
was
in it.
in it, but he did.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
He's also a really good actor too.
I don't know if I've watched enough
I like Robert Rodriguez as a director.
of
Yeah, he's quite good. Yeah.
Pulp Fiction. Just made me want to die.
Oh man, we got to get you to watch Jackie Brown.
Well,
Oh,
see,
yeah.
I have to. I gotta rewatch a lot of stuff because, like, fuck, I hated Sin City too a lot. Like,
That's a Rodriguez film. Sin City was
Yeah.
amazing.
See,
Such a good,
I think a lot of my negative perception of a lot of these movies has to do with who I was watching them with at the time,
maybe.
more so than the movie itself.
Can we wipe your memory of that? And
Yeah.
I can re-experience them for the first time and hate them all over again. Actually, we watched Halloween this year again, and I actually enjoyed it. So you got to watch it about 8 times apparently before you start enjoying it. It didn't. I was
Well,
like bored.
That's where the subjective nature of film comes in, because I think Halloween is probably the greatest, if not one of the greatest horror films ever made, and then other people are like, ugh. So
It's just boring. That's all. I enjoyed it the last time we watched it, I think, more because I was hunting for him in every scene. Gave me something it gave me
I
something to
love
do.
I love the 95% of the movie where absolutely nothing happened. That was
Yeah,
great.
it was great. Yeah, nobody
yeah.
nothing. Yeah,
That's my
all the nothingness. Totally.
And then I'm here like, oh yeah, all the weird sexual voyeurism. Yeah, it was awesome. So, and unironically, it was awesome. So
Oh God. No. Nobody dies fast enough. Halloween 2
Well,
is
hey.
fabulous though.
hey, lots of people die in Pulp Fiction though. So
Yeah, but Uma Thurman doesn't.
she almost dies. You get to see her horribly overdose.
Well, I would say that's the most entertaining part of the movie, but I really enjoy Bruce Willis and everything with him in it in that movie is good.
That was
Bring
a
it-
good section of the film. Yeah.
I also really don't like Samuel L. Jackson as an actor in general.
Really?
I find him obnoxious and grating. The only movie I think I've ever loved with him in it, where he's in a main character, is Black Snake Moan.
Which was very good. Yeah. I really like. Oh man, I love Samuel L. Jackson. He's
Yeah,
fantastic.
oh God, it's just like he's in Goodfellas and he gets shot in the face, and that's great.
You should tweet at him. It just.
I was tweeting it. I like
I
movies
just
where
imagine
you die.
it really you.
I like movies where you die. If
Bring
your
it-
character dies, I'm like,
What's that? Sorry.
Bring out the Gimp. Gimp's sleeping.
Yeah. Yes.
oh.
Yeah, I still remember the first time I saw that scene. Yeah, very, very good.
I got a hard
So
I got
good.
a hard reset and watch some of these over again, but I do find Samuel L.
Hey,
Jackson to be very obnoxious.
Yeah, you liked him in Django Unchained.
Yeah, that's true, but he's a side character. Similar
And he steals the show every time.
I mean, if I guess. I guess he's there. You can't. Leonardo DiCaprio steals every scene he's in.
Well, yeah.
Come on.
He's also fantastic, which is why Tarantino chose him. So.
Yes, that's correct.
Anyway, we are way off topic.
Yeah, we segued into all sorts of. That's because Paycheck's not the best movie ever. It's okay. It's
all right.
Entertaining for a shut your brain off and watch once.
The philosophical implications of the movie and story are way more interesting than the movie itself.
That's very true. I don't know if I would. I part of me thinks I would for the right amount of money.
What? Do that?
Yeah, give away a few years of my life.
Yeah.
It would depend on a lot of things. You know, what are the risks of you ending up with brain damage? For
like a vegetable, yeah.
You know, if it was, almost flawless, then you might consider it.
For $98 million, yeah, I would real think about it. You'd never have to work ever again. You'd never have to do anything ever again, except for life.
This is true. Which is exactly.
I think that's why he does it. Yeah.
Which is exactly what poor Michael wants.
Yeah. Yeah,
and
he wants to be done.
Everything hits the fan very, very quickly. He's very confused when he learns that he has. What happened? Did he just gave up the rights to all of the.
Yeah. What happened is
he went to the bank to get the $97 million, only to find out that he's apparently a couple of weeks earlier he signed away all the money for an envelope filled with bits and pieces.
Junk, basically.
Yeah.
To him, it's junk.
Yeah, just a bunch of stuff. Like there's a matchbook, I think, and like a
paper clip.
Yeah.
Really is
just weird.
Innocuous shit, a bus ticket.
Yeah.
And
just really bizarre, random things in this. And he's very, very confused. He gets pretty mad at this lady.
Who's a little bit afraid because I don't blame him.
Well, I mean, you would think about it too. If you didn't remember just giving away or giving up the rights to $97 million, wouldn't you be upset?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why would I give away $97 million for an envelope full of junk?
Yeah. So he's very upset, to say the least. But he leaves anyway. He just says, I need to make some calls.
And she says, we'll try to help you, sir. Like, calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
And he tries calling the big bad guy. What the fuck is his name now? Pencil Neck.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we could just call him Pencil Neck for the duration.
Two-Face, Aaron Eckhart.
That's character. Right. Yeah.
Also named, I think, Jimmy or James or something.
Yeah, something boring.
He was the guy that Michael went to about this last job, though. James is the guy who had this last job in the new way of erasing your memory.
Yes, they were friends prior to this. We're led to believe they were at least acquaintances with each other. He'd probably done jobs for him before.
Yeah.
And he's not answering him. So, oh God, how does the shit hit the fan really first?
Isn't there? There's an assassination attempt, isn't there?
Something. I can't remember if the police pick him up before that. I think they do.
Yeah, the FBI picks him up.
Yes.
They tell him that the other guy's been assassinated.
Yes, the other guy that was working on the project, he's dead.
He fell off his balcony or something, didn't he?
Yes, he fell out of his bedroom window.
14th, yeah. That's right, his 14th story
bedroom window.
Balcony.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they say that he is incriminated in all of this illegal activity by the company, that his name's all over this paperwork, and that he's being tried for treason for stealing technologies from the government. And obviously he has no idea because his memory's been wiped. And we have a instance where they pull something out of that envelope. And he goes, I don't know what's in there. It's not mine. and they put a watch on him, and he's got tan lines from the watch, and they match up perfectly.
Yeah.
Obviously, this stuff is his at that point. We're aware of it. And so there's which in most action movies, we would just chalk it up to plot progression, but for the sake of this movie, it's very poignant that everything works out very well in his favor for him to escape. Lights a cigarette, the fire alarm goes off, there's flashing lights, there's smoke, and in this envelope there are glasses that allows him to see through the smoke, the flashing lights, whilst everybody else is blind, allowing him to escape.
And it was his lighter and or cigarette.
It was the lighter and the cigarettes were both inside this envelope.
Right, because the detective asked for a smoke or something,
Yeah,
or
and
just smokes it because he
goes, he's not going to miss them because he's not good. They're not going to release him. They're indicting him for treason, and so this allows him to escape. Everything's very
convenient.
Yes, very convenient. He runs seemingly in any direction. He comes to a bus station, which he miraculously has a ticket for inside this envelope. And now he's starting to understand a little bit that the significance of these items is very important, and that he must have sent them to himself because the watch, obviously the tan lines, they line up. So,
like I said, I like the premise, but some of it is a little bit too convenient. Like, why would the FBI agent light a cigarette inside if there's a smoke detector there? Surely he would know.
Well,
it's
he
an
noticed,
instant.
I
It's instant.
How he noticed immediately after.
Yeah, it's an shit. He forgot.
Yeah, I mean, if he's a smoker, then he must have smoked before, right? And he must have known that he can't smoke inside.
Yeah. He's never forgotten.
It's definitely a John Woo fuck up there. An overlook.
It's meant to
oversight,
be. It's meant to be super convenient, though. At the very least, it's important that
he can't foresee the
future. He saw this
so.
In the future, so he knew if he put the cigarettes in that envelope that this dumbass.
No, I think
right.
He didn't. This already happened, didn't it? Yeah, it did. All of this happened.
Well, he saw it happen,
really?
So he's making it happen. Essentially, he knew. Yeah. He knew beforehand of the things that he needed to put in that envelope in order to change his future. He got to play with that machine a lot.
Well,
so,
he would have had to have watched his future over and over again and constantly added things to the list, right? So let's say he added the cigarette so he could get out from the FBI, and he ran in a certain direction. Then he got to the bus terminal thing. He would have seen that he would have been unable to get onto the bus, so he would have had to add the bus ticket to the list of things.
Exactly. Yeah. So he had 3 years. He had years to do this, or at least we could assume at least a long while. However long it took him to complete the machine. And then whatever time he had afterwards to watch it over and over again to make this.
Well, I guess you could do it in a day, really.
Well, yeah, I guess.
If you worked hard enough.
Mm.
Envelope in hand. Okay, this thing goes in there. But you would have to assume he had to get outside things like the bus ticket.
Well, they said at some point that he bought the motorbike online and had the key mailed to him. So I assume he couldn't go out into the real world.
Exactly. That's what I mean. So he had to have had some length of time to do this in order to purchase things and get them nailed to him, and like everyday stuff that wouldn't set anything off, like the bus ticket, that kind of crap. So there was obviously at least a little bit of time for him to plan this out and watch his future enough times to get it set enough that he could fix his colossal error. Who would want to see the future, realistically?
Well, I don't know. It depends.
I certainly would not. Oh, that would be awful.
Well, it depends on a couple of things, depending on whether you could change it. or depending on whether the future is good or bad, I guess.
Yeah, but how would you know without looking?
Well, that's the drawback, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Who? I couldn't imagine knowing. Like think about knowing you're going to get cancer. It's just a thing that you couldn't change anyways. But now you know it's coming. Like,
well, you could change it if you knew it was years in advance.
but what if you can't?
Might be able.
It depends whether the future's fixed or not.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't know. That would.
I mean, if you look into your future, say 40 years from now, and you're a smoker, and you have terminal lung cancer, well, but if you quit smoking that day, maybe you won't.
Well, if you ever read any Greek myth about prophecy, the more you try to change something from happening, that actually causes.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Well, that's something that's brought up. That's something that's brought up in the movie. Whatever future they see, we make it happen.
Well, it's like Oedipus Rex, who a king is told that his wife will get pregnant and the son will sleep with his mother and kill his father. Right, so the king orders that the child be killed, but the mother doesn't want to kill the child, so she gives him away to I think it's someone in a fishing village.
Yeah.
And they raise him normally, but he eventually grows tireless and wants adventure, and he goes out and he comes across the king, who he gets into a fight with and kills the king. And the queen is happy because she didn't like her husband, and they eventually have an affair. And she eventually tells him that she had a child, which she gave away to the fishing village. And Oedipus Rex realizes that he's been sleeping with his mother. So he burns his eyes out and becomes a beggar. So, yeah.
Nice. Yeah. That's what I mean. I don't know. Like, I mean, on an impulse, so I know a lot of people probably would, but I think you would become obsessed with needing to see more of it. Like, if, as an example of the cancer thing, if I quit smoking right now, am I still going to get cancer? So you constantly want to check and see if your actions had changed anything.
Well, one of the things in the Dune novels is Paul Atreides, when he becomes the Kwisatz Haderach, can see all possible futures, which essentially is torture, because he knows any action he takes, he can see every possible result of that into the future for thousands of years to come. So, theoretically, going to the shop to get a carton of milk could have a ripple effect that you're totally unaware of. You stop at a light or something, which delays someone who later on gets into a car accident, which means someone else isn't born, which means a cure for cancer isn't developed, or so on. So
you don't constantly have to weigh the
butterfly
greater
effect,
good.
pretty much.
Yeah, constantly weighing.
The smallest little thing could have a huge effect into the future, and if you saw every single little thing and the end result of that echoing through the future, it could potentially drive you nuts.
Oh, it would drive you nuts. Good Lord. You would really have to constantly weigh the greater good all the time for everything.
Yeah, well, any action could have a negative result, but also not doing anything could have a negative result. So,
yeah.
That could definitely drive somebody insane. Even if you could see it all, I think a person would develop a fear of even leaving their home.
Which in itself would have a ripple effect.
Yeah, it would do.
Yes, exactly. It would drive you completely batshit very quickly.
That's bad idea. Bad juju, humanity. Don't try to look into the future. It's just no.
But yeah, one of the things I don't like about this movie is the explanation of how the seeing into the future works. It's a laser, which is shot around the curvature of the universe, which then looks back at itself, but in the future.
Yeah.
What?
They tried to make it sound really, really profound, but it was just stupid.
Yeah,
I mean,
don't know.
they had to do something.
Well,
They
no,
had-
they didn't. All they had to say is the machine sees the future. It uses wormholes or something.
Instead of
Yeah, you
trying to
don't-
explain it.
When you explain it like that, like you, as in the royal you, it negates any wonder that the audience has with that machine. It doesn't matter how. By explaining how, it cheapens it, especially because the how in this movie is ridiculous.
I can't remember what Philip K. Dick wrote in the story. I don't know if he explained it.
I can't
What?
either, but I bet you I would bet a small amount of money that he didn't over explain it like they did in the film.
Yeah, because
They dumbed it down for.
it was a stupid explanation. Just
It was. It really was. It took me right
Leave it
out of the movie. It
alone!
made me chuckle.
Just to
like,
leave it alone.
yeah, you don't.
that's it. That's all we need to know.
Well, that's just it. It's filmmaking 101. We don't need to know this. The audience doesn't really care.
I mean, didn't they have like a
Even
retard
if they-
roundup right towards the end too, where it re-explained the entire
They
fucking
did.
movie to us after we just watched?
You know what? On a critical level, what made me kind of hate this movie, even though it was really entertaining and it's based on a really, really cool story, which I've read several times. It's when Uma's character is dated by somebody else, and they go to meet in the diner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's the look on Michael's face, Affleck's face. I'm not sure if you could tell that Ben Affleck was trying his hardest to look dumbfounded. And it's like 5 minutes of him just squinting his eyes. Like,
He's trying to act and it's not working.
it's just absolutely terrible. It's one of the worst acted scenes I have ever seen. And I've seen a lot of really, really shitty B movies. And I love schlock. And very few times have I seen something so transparent as that one little scene.
Didn't
in the
I look-
diner.
Didn't I look at you and go, he looks super constipated?
Like,
It might have
Because it
been.
kind of does. He looks really constipated. Like he's just squinting with this.
yeah,
It's
he
just
doesn't.
not- It's the wrong. He was expressing the wrong emotion. He was.
He doesn't sell it.
No,
at
he
all.
was supposed to look like a little quizzical because
He looked like he was squinting at something on a Starbucks menu that he just couldn't fucking read, but he was too embarrassed to tell the barista that he didn't have his glasses.
I don't
so he
know
just
if
kept
this
trying.
is this a frappa what?
Like, it's like
Well,
he
he
was
might-
just
he
being
might
Ben
have-
Affleck at
He
Starbucks.
may have been
Like,
confused because he had 3 years of memories removed, so they may have replaced some of the items on the menu. So
yeah, maybe.
so
Fucking. Yeah.
Man, I thought I was supposed to be the apologist here. What are you doing, Bane?
God damn it, Ben! I guess this is like seriously, this is the 100th take we've done of this fucking scene. You know what? We're gonna go with constipated Ben. It's good enough.
it doesn't matter. We've got the bike scene coming up,
That's true. It's coming up right after this.
and then we've got
After we're
and we-
subjected to Uma Thurman oh so much.
the doves and the slow motion camera. That's the most important thing.
Oh, in a John Woo movie? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's directed a shit ton of bad movies. I mean, even Face Off in and of itself
Oh.
is awesome.
Oh my god.
Well-
No, but the premise in that is stupid.
Yes, it is. But as an action movie, it's awesome.
Oh, is that okay? I don't know if I've seen that, but it sounds familiar.
Okay, so they
Well, it's
take
got
two actors who don't look like each other and they swap their face. They cut their faces off and surgically swap them, and then they play each other.
Oh lord.
Even though they got different body shapes and different voices.
Oh, it has Nicolas Cage in it. Okay, that explains a lot.
and John Revolting. And
John Revolting. Oh, poor John.
John Travolta.
Is it because he's gay?
No, I love John Travolta. He's a fantastic actor. He's just
It's
that
because
shit.
he was in Greece, isn't it?
Well, was in Greece.
Ugh.
Anyway, no, John Woo. I mean, admittedly, isn't the best director of English language movies. So he's much better at his Chinese language films and his martial arts films, like Hard Boiled, his crime dramas like that.
I mean, come on, we got a kick-ass motorcycle scene, and it's happening right now.
It wasn't very kick-ass.
Oh, it was so kick-ass.
He did the second Mission Impossible movie, didn't he?
He did, yeah.
Yeah,
He did
'cause
Hard
I
Boiled
remember
from
that because of
1992.
the fight chase and the slow motion doves.
Yeah. Those are standout scenes in a John Woo movie, don't you know?
Oh, come on, you didn't
John Woo movie. Is that the one with the dove?
You didn't think the motorcycle
yeah.
chase was fun? Come on.
Yeah.
Come
I
on.
think his next movie is going to have a slow motion dove riding a motorbike.
In
So-
slow motion?
Whoa, cosmic.
Wait, is the dove in slow motion and the motorcycle going in real time?
Yep.
That's gonna be a weird way. That's gonna be a weird scene to film.
Well, it's easier to explain than the laser that goes around the curvature of the universe and looks back at itself.
Yeah.
In the future.
Oh Lord.
Do you know how big the universe is? Do you know how long that laser would
Do
take?
you?
Yes.
How big is it?
Big.
Informative. Thank you. I feel educated.
Well, let's just say that it is trillions compared to the film's implied.
It's large and in charge, sort of like Dick.
Yes.
It's
And
not
I don't mind.
Since we're talking about bad explanations in movies, it's not as bad as in Superman the movie, where Superman turns back time by flying around the Earth backwards and turning the Earth backwards.
Hey, come on.
Which takes us back in time. And I like Superman. I like the first two of those movies anyway. But yeah, that is, even as a child, being 10 or 11, that made me cringe. I mean, oh no.
It worked, didn't it?
What were they thinking? I mean, what the fuck were they thinking?
They were
Honestly,
thinking
what were they
Superman
thinking?
can do literally anything. Shut up.
They were thinking comic book way too hard.
Yeah.
But here's another problem
and
with that. Right? Let's say, for example, that he wasn't actually physically turning the Earth backwards, which then turns back time.
Okay.
But let's say instead, which I'm pretty sure is what they were implying. But let's say instead he was just flying fast enough that he went back in time, right?
Okay.
Somehow, right? The problem with that is every time something bad happens in a Superman movie, why doesn't he just do that?
Well,
Wait,
because-
doesn't he lose the ability to do a lot of stuff? Doesn't he encounter kryptonite and that weakens him so that he's a little bit more entertaining to watch?
Well, in the comic book, yeah, but not in the context of these movies. So, I mean, that's a good question. I guess it's not cinematically viable. So, you can't answer that without breaking the fourth wall.
So, there's a plane crash and Superman doesn't get there in time. That's okay. All he has to do is
You just fly around the Earth a few times. Yeah.
Suits.
But the other thing is, wouldn't there be two Supermans? What's the plural? Superman?
Superman.
Superman?
I would say Superman, yes.
Superman. So it'd be Supermans, but that doesn't sound right. But anyway,
It's
then
not. It's so wrong.
there'd be two of them because there's the one in the original timeline and the one that's just come back in time.
Oh yeah, everything's broken. Have you tried unplugging it and plugging it back in?
I could make some really, really insensitive jokes about wheelchairs right now, but I'll stop. I'll stop while I'm ahead. I'll just walk
You
on out of
mentioned
here.
the wheelchair. It's too late.
God damn, I love Christopher Reeve. I feel like I owe him an apology.
You think
now,
he's got 10
in
speeds
the
on that
grave.
thing?
Oh man.
1, 2, and turn back time?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. You notice we're talking about other movies more than Paycheck?
Oh, because it's...
Well,
it's
it's okay. It's an
Can we-
okay movie
we can-
It's an okay movie with a really cool concept.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Oh, motorcycle chase
And
scene.
when I say it's an okay movie, it really is okay. I mean, it's cool to just kind of turn your brain off and just watch it for what it is.
Yeah, I would recommend
certainly
watching
not
it, but you're never
Good, but
steal it, because if you buy it, you're never gonna watch it again.
probably not. It's yeah.
Because, like, honestly, we could go through and explain sort of what each item does, but now we already know the items. The items take him to his destination, which is gotta destroy the machine, gotta destroy the bad machine.
We've talked about other movies with identity crises and whatnot, and the one that we opened with was The Matrix. I mean, obviously, The Matrix is infinitely more watchable than say Paycheck. So
It's true. I mean, like I said, it's not a bad movie. You could definitely sit through it once, but you're probably not going to want to watch it again, at least not for a very, very long time, because it really is. It's okay. We already understand that the items are going to bring him to the end to his destiny, which is destroy the machine.
It's a good movie to whet. That's true. It's a good movie to whet people's appetite for dick.
For dick, yes, it's good pre-dick. It's just the tip.
It is. It's just the tip of dick.
If you're a little scared, of taking the whole dick all at once, you can start with Paycheck. It's just the tip.
You don't need to take the whole darn scanner right away.
That's what they used in the marketing campaign, isn't it?
Just the tip. Paycheck, just the tip of the dick.
If you're too afraid to take the whole cock, go to the theater, June 23rd, 2003.
He destroys the motherfucking machine, okay? And he keeps seeing himself die in the machine, so we expect him to die at the end, but oh, spoilers, he doesn't die. He lives. And also he wins the lottery.
His watch goes off, which tells him to jump, so...
And also he wins the lottery.
Faster than a bullet, so that's lucky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. He lives, they win the lottery, game over, movie done.
Yeah, they win the lottery and coincidentally win the exact same amount of money that he would have earned through the stock.
Somehow.
No, I think it was more. No, it was more. Yeah, it was more. Yeah, it was more. No, it was more. I'm gonna check.
No,
it was 93 million or whatever it was.
97 or something, yeah. See, how would he have known that? Now you're playing the markets.
I'm checking because I'm pretty sure it was more. I think he won more.
Oh my goodness! And the Saturday morning ending, the Saturday morning cartoon ending.
Oh my goodness! This movie has an average of 4.7 rating out of 10.
That much?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that much. Wow, that's
pretty good.
Average.
Oh, come on. You're not going to tell me the exact numbers. Oh, I'm not going to be able to Google this fast.
You're going to have to watch the last.
No! No, because I have to look in the middle to try to find...
It is the exact number.
I thought it was more.
No, it's the same.
God damn you both. I'm pretty sure it was more.
Coincidences.
I'll tell you what, I'm gonna find out. I'm gonna find the numbers after we're finished this episode. And if I'm right, I'm gonna go in the comments and tell these two to shove it because I'm pretty sure it was more.
And what happens when you prove that we're right?
I ain't gonna say shit. Come on, you need the answer to that. I'm not going to admit I'm wrong. I'm a woman. What the fuck?
So is this all one timeline, or is this separate things, or what?
There's two simultaneous timelines happening. One where I'm right, one where I'm wrong. And I'm going to go back in time again and kill the one where I'm wrong because fuck the two of you.
And Philip K. Dick can see both timelines because an alien probe spoke to him.
Yes, and
Yes.
and he's also allowing me to be the correct one in this situation.
Tried to commit suicide too, didn't he, in his lifetime in the 70s?
Yeah, I think so. I think he went to Canada or something. I'm not sure.
Is Canada the suicide capital of the world?
Well, maybe not in the 70s. I don't know. I read that like years and years and years ago. I'm not really sure.
I was looking up the Valis thing earlier today before the show because I wanted to refresh my memory, and I think there was a section that said Canada and suicide. So I don't know.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, I don't know if they happened at the same time or
flight to Canada and suicide attempt.
Oh.
Yeah.
No. Huh.
Why Canada?
He saw milk in a bag, and that was enough.
Hey, he went to Canada to kill himself. He didn't get to Canada and then decide to kill himself.
Ah, okay.
I've never seen bagged milk.
The bags keep it fresher. And also, that's just the fucking French Canadians. Nobody likes them anyway.
I've never seen a bag of milk. Everybody always brings that. Oh, you're Canadian. Do you drink bagged milk?
Yeah, no, it's the fucking French Canadians. Fucking French Canadians.
Hello?
I mean, I start every morning with a hockey game and a 6-pack of Molson.
Oh, not yeah. I mean, obviously.
So we finished with Paycheck because I don't know if we can.
Oh God, I don't think there's anything else to say about it. Just don't make a machine that you can look into the future. It's bad. It's bad news bears.
I would recommend watching it at least once, but if you haven't, we've already spoiled it, so you don't even need to watch it once. Then.
Well, we haven't really explained it. Like, it's an interesting watch to find out how each item gets him from point A to point B, which is destroying the machine. It's a fun little.
The mystery is the hook.
Yes.
It's definitely the weakest of the three films.
Oh, absolutely, and it's only because, it's all my fault because I don't watch a lot of.
No. It's good that you chose it because the story it's based on is reasonably short.
I don't like Dick as much as
interesting,
you do.
and it. No, but it's a good jumping
off.
You
guys both enjoy Dick far more than me. It's okay.
I will freely admit that I love Dick.
Yeah.
So
these two young gentlemen here like Dick far more than I do, and they're both okay with it.
Yep. Cinematic.
It's a good story to read first.
Literature Dick.
If you read it, you can play with it a little. Actually touch it.
Isn't it nice to touch your dick?
A bit dick late at night.
Curl up in bed with your dick.
You can't sleep. All you got to do is, maybe go to the bathroom or some other room where you're alone and just.
I prefer low light for my dick.
Yeah.
Dick and low light's just that's much better.
This episode, but oh well, it doesn't matter.
We should make a few more. Come on, we did puns at the beginning. Now we're doing puns now. There were only a few peppered in there. I'm actually a little disappointed in you.
Yeah, we had a fairly serious conversation about schizophrenia and the basis of reality.
Yeah. And Dick.
In terms of modern scientific advances with schizophrenia, he actually had the descent into schizophrenic delusion pretty much on point, even in his stories. 50 or 60 years before major advances were made with schizophrenia research. So
good for him for understanding crazy people.
Well, yeah, it was. As a person who's seen somebody actually experience schizophrenia from beginning to living with it, it's definitely on point. Just reading his stories, and actually the filmmakers who have adapted his stories into films like Total Recall, and even John Woo with Paycheck, they really get that that loss of identity, that confusion.
I mean, Ben tries, but he just ends up looking he looks constipated instead of confused. He's having an existential crisis about when he's getting to the bathroom next.
Well, no, the acting isn't so good, but the concept of the film itself is really interesting.
Yes, it's worth watching. It's worth watching at least once. Don't buy it.
Yeah, and I would say that most people haven't seen A Scanner Darkly.
It's very,
but most
very
have probably
good.
seen.
It's very weird.
It is.
I want to watch it again. Like it's that kind of movie. I watched it once and I'm still a little confused, and I just want to sit and watch it again.
Yeah, out of the three movies today, I'd have to say A Scanner Darkly is my favorite, then Total Recall, and then definitely last Paycheck.
Yeah. Yeah, Total Recall has a special place in my heart. It was one of the first, I guess, violent movies I ever saw by myself, renting it on VHS.
I mean, other than Alien, because you have a great parent.
Oh, well, yeah, I was probably 10 or 11. I was 9 when I saw Alien. That was a mistake.
Yeah, you're that was a real parenting win on your dad's part.
So, so I have a soft spot for Total Recall. I would say that Total Recall is my favorite, but A Scanner Darkly is certainly the best subjectively the best of PKD adaptation.
Moist Fetus. You picked Moist Fetus.
I would say, personally, even more than me, I would say it's a better adaptation than Blade Runner.
You like the dark dick.
Oh, would I say that it's better than Blade Runner? Oh, I don't know. That's
I mean, subjectively better. I just just in terms of getting his nuances, you know. As a film, Blade Runner is far more entertaining, but that's not a knock against A Scanner Darkly in any form. It's just
one of them art's a little bit harder.
Well, yeah, and we really need to watch Blade Runner, because when you see that last scene, you might change your mind.
I might. I mean, I made fun of First Blood up until I watched it, and then I bawled like a baby. So
you did. Well, you don't know much of Rutger Hauer, do you? Do you remember The Hitchhiker or The Hitcher?
Sorry. You'd have to refresh my memory a little bit.
It's about that young man. He's probably 22, 23. He's going across the Nevada desert to deliver a vehicle. And he picks up a hitchhiker in the pouring rain.
Vaguely.
Yeah, and then the hitchhiker pulls a knife on him, and this young man kicks him out of the car and hoots and hollers in victory. And then the next day he finds a couple of dead bodies.
Oh yeah, I vaguely remember that. Yeah.
Okay, anyway, that's Rutger Hauer, the guy who played the hitchhiker. Fantastic actor. Yeah, he's the second main character in Blade Runner, and he'll blow you away.
I think that's probably his best role, to be honest.
Now, for sure.
There's so much I haven't watched. So much.
Yeah, Blade Runner is just fantastic, and I think that's one of the movies we're going to probably watch twice. And what I mean by that is at least two different versions.
I gotcha.
And they're both really cool. And I know there are more than two versions. It's just there are two main versions, I guess.
We gotta go back and watch Oh, go ahead.
No, there are two main versions. The original theatrical version, and then the recently, and I say recently, within the last 10, 12 years, released director's cut. And they're pretty much the same, but very, very different at the same time. So we'll have to watch those.
Go into it in any detail because it will be spoiling it. But depending on the movie you watch, depends on how you interpret the end of the movie.
So which one should I watch first?
Oh, well, Cut. What do you think, Bane?
I guess theatrical.
I guess so, right? Because it is the shorter of the two,
and
it's not necessarily worse. It's just
different. Well, we watched The Godfather. We watched the theatrical cuts first, and then there's the basically it's just one big ass long movie, right?
Yeah, the director's cut from 1990 or 92, like it was a couple years, I think. Francis Ford Coppola put this together after he released the third one, and it's a cut of all three films into one film. So it's all told in chronological
The
order.
third one
Oh,
had
okay.
so much potential to be such an incredible movie.
It did, but anyway, yeah, it's a cut by Francis Ford Coppola that combines all three films in chronological order. It's kind of like Once Upon a Time in America, but it actually works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd be interested to see that now.
Yeah. Anyway, where were we going with that?
We're at the end here. So
which cut would be best to watch? But anyway, yeah, we'll get into that some other
Oh
time.
yeah, theatrical probably. That's obviously what most people saw first. So I may as well follow the trend, right?
Yeah.
So any final thoughts?
Well, I was going to take it off the dick for a minute, and but staying on the topic of sci-fi, have you seen John Carter?
Nope.
John Carter.
Mm.
Who is in it? Sounds super familiar. I know of it.
It's based on the Edgar Rice Burroughs John Carter of Mars. Came out, I think, 2011 or 2012.
Okay.
Sci-fi. Never heard of it?
I've heard of it. Yes. I don't think I've. No, I haven't seen it. Never mind. Yeah, I've seen a whole bunch of trailers for it, and I know what it's based off of. But
yeah, I think it's a good movie. It didn't really do anything in the box office. It just failed for some reason. But I think it's a decent sci-fi movie. I watched it again during the week, and when I was watching it, it suddenly occurred to me that it has the exact same plot as The Phantom Menace.
Oh no!
Oh, that's funny.
So I won't go into it any deeper than that because you haven't watched it. But
Well, now I have to.
maybe I'll send you a copy and we'll talk
Is
about
Jar
it.
Jar in it?
Yeah. Well, maybe there's a Jar Jar like character. Who knows? Yeah, you can send it to me if you want. I'll give it a quick watch. We can do that.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Phantom Menace. I mean, it doesn't have all the political stuff in the Senate or anything like that, but the basic plot is pretty spot on to the Phantom Menace.
Huh.
And keep in mind, this is based on a story written, I don't know, about 100 years ago. When did Rice Burroughs write John Carter? I mean, he's the guy who invented Tarzan. So
yes.
to give you some idea of when that stuff was written.
It would have to have been the probably the 30s. I would say. If I would assume it's after Tarzan, so probably the 30s or 20s even.
Or close to 100 years. Yeah.
Yeah, about 100. Well, at least 100 years. So maybe even more. Like Tarzan I think it was before 1900.
So I mean that begs the question: is this just a huge coincidence, or did George Lucas kind of subconsciously copy it? Or
he copied a lot of shit. He's not even.
Yeah, but like I said, I won't go into it. But if you compared the two movies, beat for beat, and plot element for plot element, they're pretty spot on.
He took homage from so many things. I mean, I'm sure he even if it was a subconscious thing, it just
but he mashed up a lot of things. Like they say, if you're inspired by many, if you take from many things, it's inspiration. If you take from one thing,
it's plagiarism.
It's a rip-off. Yeah. Yeah, I just thought it was interesting while watching the movie. It suddenly occurred to me. And I thought back through it the whole movie, and I thought, yeah, it is pretty much the same thing.
Interesting.
I'm gonna have to watch that now.
I see that Disney produced it.
Yeah.
Looking it up. Oh yeah.
I don't know if Fad's being funny or if she's actually trying to say that the original Ghostbusters sucked.
Them's fighting words.
Real fighting words, woman. You cannot. Did somebody make you watch the 2016 feminist shit and try to tell you it was a good movie? Because
anything written by Harold Ramis is comedy gold.
I wasn't a huge fan of the second Ghostbusters. I thought it was okay.
She's talking about the new one.
Not compared to the the first one, and of course the new one's.
No! It's
just terrible.
She's talking about the new iteration. Yeah, don't. I don't know what troll told you to watch that shit. I'm very sorry. I apologize on behalf of them.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. She's saying it was 4 chicks with no sense of humor.
Rest assured, if I ever recommend a film to you, it will be good and you will enjoy it.
Anything written by Harold Ramis. I mean,
come on.
There's Spies Like Us, Caddyshack, comedy gold.
The Red Letter Media takedown of the new Ghostbusters, fantastic. I know you don't.
Neither does he.
Really, no.
You're gonna be the odd man out here.
I can't. I won't watch it. No way. Not the Red Letter Media thing, but I won't watch the new Ghostbusters. No way.
Yeah, but the Red Letter Media
not even for shits and giggles.
Goes right through it and explains why it doesn't work. And most it's because most of it is just ad lib. They just act crazy in front of the camera.
Well, that's not the way Ramis wrote it in 1983.
No.
He's very upset. Why didn't they do what he? Oh, see now, Fad. What have you done? You've triggered all of us. Get out. You can't bring up that movie anywhere near anybody with any sense of anything.
So I think we should wrap up. But just as we wrap up, we should talk about the next episode.
I think it's your pick next.
Yeah, probably going to be in 2 weeks unless something comes up.
Yeah.
So
I would say so. Yeah. What movies are they again?
Santa Sangre.
Ah, yes.
And 2 pigeons.
And 2 pigeons, also known as Freehold.
Yes. Depending on where you are in the world.
I already know what I'm going to call the episode. Free Santa.
Oh, that's...
It's also... Really Christmas is coming up. Oh, it's even better. Everybody's giving me a hard time for being excited about Christmas already. I don't even care.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching Santa Sangre one more time. I haven't seen it in a while. Well, I've seen it a lot years and years ago, but I haven't seen it now for... Oh, pardon me.
I've since seen
a long time.
I've since seen Holy Mountain, which is another movie by the same director, and I've got to say, Holy Mountain is fucking amazing. It is amazing.
Last time we spoke, I actually have that. I downloaded it, and I've yet to watch it. I'd like to buy it.
Well, I think
I will.
Not obviously not my next pick, but the one after that, I think I'm going to have to pick Holy Mountain.
You're going to have to go through that list and rearrange some things.
Yeah, I do.
Holy Mountain is one of those. It's almost a mythical movie to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I've only ever seen clips of it. But very brief. I've actually turned quite a few off because I don't want to ruin it for myself. So.
It's an amazing journey. And right up to the end where there's an amazing little revelation right at the end, which I won't spoil, but
don't. Not with that.
We haven't seen it. You can't spoil it for us.
It's extremely interesting. Great movie.
Good night, everybody.
We're not looking at that next episode. It's Santa Sangre instead, which is
Free
also...
Santa.
Yes.
So is that it? We're finishing? Everyone?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm good.
Because you just said goodbye over the top of us, so
I did because you guys are talking about episodes like a month in advance.
No, 2 months.
Say goodnight, everybody. We'll keep me.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Talk to you next time.
Bye.